go. I've made it. It's been a day. It has been a day. Ooh, lights. Now you can see me. Voila. Sort myself out here. This. Oh, yeah, I know. I know I shocked everyone. I'm no longer the ginger bearded person. I shocked everyone, I know. But, you know, times were required to freshen up a bit. How are we all doing? How are we all doing? Is my chatbot broken? No, it looks alright. Wait, it might be. It could well be. Oh, there it goes. It's caught up. Oh, we've got to do Hydra Clash. We've got to do lots of things. We can talk about the new permanent fusion. We can kind of talk about what's going on. They did drop another fusion Prism, which is kind of crazy. Kind of crazy, right? I mean, I'll be honest. This is probably the best chance I'm ever going to get to pull a Rotus. What do I think about the Prism values? I mean, it really depends how many. I always used to say with the Prisms, as long as we can get one for free, then it's somewhat okay. So we're going to get 40. I've already got 10, right? So as long as there is at least 20 available in this Dragon tournament, then it's probably okay, I want to say. I've been doing some Sand Devil today, grinding up. Using me RSL Helper, been grinding away. I tend to not do Sand Devil in CVC because it's slower than Spider. I'd rather spend my energy on Spider, but I do want the Prism Crystal, so I'm doing it at the moment, so. You look fresh. No, do you know what? I just needed to freshen up a bit, you know. I mean, Vegas is coming up. I've actually been growing what little hair I have in hopes that, you know, when I go to a professional hairdresser rather than doing it myself, they'll be able to salvage what's left of my headless hair, or hairless head, whatever the word is, so that it, I don't know, looks better than what it currently is. Normally, I just because it's balding, I just normally give it a, you know, a once over in the house. It saves some money because it can be quite expensive. But I figured I'd make an effort, you know. So, still no Whisper Soul, Juan. Don't even get started with me. It is brutal. I'm starting to lose my mind. I don't know how hard it has to be for me to get a Whisper Soul. Come on then. Want some of these? How much time until we commit to full bald? Honestly, it's funny, I'm not really worried about going bald. What I'm more concerned about is, because I'm so pale, what it's going to look like when I have no, like, hair on my head, right? Because it's happening. It's going to happen eventually. I mean, the last year or two has developed considerably. So it's kind of like, you know, you can find ways around it. You can cut it shorter so it doesn't look so bad. But eventually, I'm probably going to go bald because it's a genetic thing. But the problem is, when you kind of like are quite pale, as I am, I'm very pale. When you actually then cut all your hair off and you put a hat on your head, it doesn't look great. You know, I look like I'm basically being discharged from hospital, and that's not a look I really want to go for. So it's kind of like, you know, I said, I'm not like one of these types of people that feels like they need to go get a hair transplant and all this. That just doesn't bother me, you know. It's more the paleness, which is forever a curse on my existence. I'll be honest, the best thing about going to Vegas, is we can take hold luggage, right? You can take a hold bag rather than just carry on. So I can literally fill my bag full of suntan lotion, because I kid you not, I'm going to incinerate out in the desert. I'm actually going to go red, probably. It's a difficult situation for a pale person. So it's I can actually like buy it, like when we went to Amsterdam, because we were only there for like 4 days, we didn't really take any hold luggage. We just took carry-on, and because you've got to go through carry-on, you can't take liquids over a certain size. So the first thing I did when I landed in Amsterdam, I was like hunting for like suntan lotion in the duty free. I was just like, I need to buy some, otherwise I'm going to die. I'm literally going to burn up like a vampire. Are you going to upload your Shogun Reho team to the optimizer? It should already be there, is it not? Are you talking about my share link? Because it should be. My teams. Shogun. Sand Devil. Shogun Grove. Yeah, my Shogun Grove team is there. If you want my share link, where is it? Optimize the share link. There you go. Usually people visiting Vegas spend, well, do you know what? I'm not one for the casinos, so I actually want to explore. You know, I'm one for the outside world. When I do, it's ironic. When I go traveling, all I want to do is like hike, you know, go outside, go on treks, see the environment. Whereas when I'm at home, I literally just don't want to leave the house. So it's kind of weird, you know. It's almost like if I'm committing to having to go on holiday, then I'm going to full commit. So I actually don't think I'll spend that much time inside. What's my thoughts on Shuzhen? Shuzhen is really good for arena, where you can actually force your low speed damage dealer to take a turn. That's how I would use Shuzhen. You basically make Shuzhen really fast as like a speed lead, and then she goes first, boosts your damage dealer, and off they go and one-shot things. So, embrace baldness, I know. It'll be fine. Yeah, I think we are looking at Red Rock. Sham, who, if you know who Sham is, Sham's one of the co-directors of Fateless. I've worked with him, known him for a couple of years now. He is apparently, and I didn't know this until a couple of days ago, a Olympic quality mountain rock climber or something. So when he volunteered to, quote, take us for a trek, I hope that didn't actually include as well, like, rock climbing, because I'm good at walking, but even that is a bit dangerous for me. I'm very klutzy, so trying to climb a rock, probably not a great, like, thing for me to do. But yeah, so I think he's going to take us for a guided trek and stuff, so. If Lady Mikage is the mythical future, looks promising. Yeah, we'll talk about Lady Mikage, or Mikage, or whatever we want to call it. The new permanent fusion. I think it is the new permanent fusion. We'll talk about that in a minute. Hypnos. I've never been to Vegas, though. I live in Colorado. Colorado is a better place to explore. It's like, yeah, exactly. I really would love to go to Washington State, Brissinger. Like the northern states, if that makes sense, where it's more like true outdoors, you know, true nature. A little bit more wild. Whereas I think Vegas is a little bit more popular. You know, obviously it's a desert, right? So there's not a lot around. Deserts are cool, but once you've seen a grain of sand, every other grain of sand is pretty much the same thing. So it's not much you can see in a desert other than sand. There are also day trips from Vegas to the Grand Canyon. YST is talking about that. Me and YST need to have a look at that and see if we want to do it. He was talking about that as well. We are kind of like, there's only so much we can do in the time we're out there. If you think TwitchCon is on the weekend, so that might be pretty tied up. Some evenings we're also tied up. We're also tied up in like one day for Red Rock. So we need to plan the time properly. Yeah, we do want to try and look at the Grand Canyon as an option. Have you been to the American desert region before? You're going in the fall, and most people don't realize it gets very, very cold. I know it gets very, very cold, Kessel, because I've done Nepal. Every so often, this run fails. I'm still not quite perfect on this run. It's like 1 in 50 it fails. Yeah, so because I've done like Nepal and I've done Peru, I'm used to the reality of, God, it's really hot in the day, and then it's like, no, it's really cold at night, because obviously there's no cloud cover. So because there's no cloud cover, there's nothing holding the heat to the ground, which means in the desert it gets really cold at night and really hot in the day. So I'm taking like one, not really a fleece, but like something more than just jeans and t-shirt, just to keep warm in case it does get cold. So that's where you are. Yeah, about now. Yeah, exactly. Like the Seattle area. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I'd love to visit at some point. thing is, America's such a huge place, and it's so like ecologically and culturally diverse, right? So going to New York is a completely different experience to going to LA, which is a completely different experience to going to Louisiana, New Orleans, and then going down to Florida is a different experience to then going to Washington State. Like, it's such a wide, like, it's a lot. Yeah, so I've done in Peru, they have something a bit similar to the Grand Canyon, but not as extreme. It's called, I think it's called the Condor Canyons, and we went up there, and it's where you go to see the condors, and that's a bit similar, where it's like a massive mountain range, and there's a deep canyons and stuff like that. It's really, really impressive. It's nowhere near the scale of the Grand Canyon, but it was a really cool experience. Should try dune buggy. I did do a dune buggy excursion in Peru, actually. I went and did because everyone else was like exhausted. I was like, no, I'm here. I've got a free day. So I did like a guided tour where it was like you had 3 days, and you could basically ask your tour guide to arrange it for you. So I arranged like this quad biking thing with these locals, and we went down like the salt mines and went around. I actually got covered in salt. It was crazy, but we went on a dune buggy and everything. It was really fun. It was really cool. If you have to choose between the dam or the hole, choose the hole. Okay. The Cascade Mountain Range is in my backyard. Nice. Just back from Canada. Did a coast trip. Yeah, Canada's really... It's actually quite funny. Most of Canada is empty, isn't it? A lot of the population of Canada is right on the border. The rest of it's quite just like barren landscape a little bit. We want you in the Playrium's Content Creator Program. Got some shout outs from Ash. I did give Ash a message just to say, appreciate the shout out. And he was like, "Oh, you're not in the content program?" I was like, "Nope, I am blacklisted. They are forever hating me, probably." Condor Canyon. I'm sure it's the Condor Canyon. Let me double check. Yeah, it's Condor Canyon, Peru. Oh, the Colca Canyon. That's where I got it from. The Colca Canyon. Knew it started with C. The Colca Canyon in Peru is known as the Condor Canyon because you see a lot of the condors up there. It's really, really like, it's not really a canyon so much as like the Grand Canyon, but it's equally as impressive, I think. It's more of a valley. See if I can find... It's gonna let me log in. Okay. Eventually, when it decides it wants to. There we go. Okay, what was I looking for? God, you know what? It's been so long since I've been here. Yeah, someone, we were talking about it last week, and our lead investor, Gary, for Fateless, was telling Fiction, "Oh, it's not that warm out in Las Vegas." I get a feeling it was a case of what's warm to a local, because warm to us is like 29 degrees. That's really hot. And we looked at the weather and we were like, "Fix, it's like 30 degrees out there right now." And he's like, "It'll be quite cool." It's like, no, it'll be, it's quite, it's something. So now you got some pictures here. I kid you not, the iPhone is one of the best cameras I've ever used for traveling. I know people, can't compete with a DSLR, but honestly, just like the fact that I don't have to carry a DSLR around is such a good deal with the iPhone. So I'm just grabbing a few... back when I was skinny with hair. Good old days. Let's see. Is this gonna work? Nice. So these were some of the... It's actually taken with an iPhone, believe it or not. So that's basically the canyon, where they call it Condo Canyon, it's called Canyon. It's crazy good. So it's more of a valley than a canyon, you know, whereas the Grand Canyon is a lot deeper, but it's more of a valley, I think, generally. So it's pretty cool. See all like the terrace farms where they used to basically plant potatoes, because apparently potatoes is like the Peruvian thing. Who knew? So yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, honestly. I haven't been overseas since Romania, actually, since Odwin and Ivy's wedding, which is kind of crazy considering now they're having a kid and how fast time has flown. So I'm really looking forward to the break, to be honest. Really looking forward to the break. Vegas is so dry. I went there, my lips were hating me. Yeah, I mean, pretty much any time I go abroad, either I burn up or I just like dry up, which one way or the other. So it'll probably take me a good like month to fully recover after I go, just for 1 week. So watch out there. Most hotels have device limits you can connect without charges. We're staying in the I think the Plaza. I don't know. I just assume that it'll be like pretty much fine. But I haven't really checked that. I'm only really taking my Mac, my laptop, just in case I need to do work. Because you know Plarium are probably going to do an update while we're out there, right? They're probably going to release something. So we might need to just fix some of those stuff. And probably like my iPhone, maybe my iPad. You should. I honestly will probably stay well away from the gambling, purely because in my head, it's just illogical, right? I might have a quick go at like, I don't know, throw some dice on a roulette table, but I really just don't want to get involved in any of the gambling, because to me, it's like the system is rigged against you before you enter the battlefield. So it's like, before you even go into a casino, you know you're going to lose. So why would I encourage such behaviors? It'll be interesting to see which one of us actually walks away with the most amount of money, right? If they do. Wait, is your ninja running a regen gear or is that not needed? He's in Affinity Breaker, Skullman. So in my team, I just want ninja to die because it's less actions and it goes a bit faster. Eventually, I'm like one star away from having a 5-star Ineri, my other Ineri. Once I get that, I can use my fully booked Ineri and we can drop the time right down to like 2 minutes and it will be a lot faster. But I just need Ineri to come into the shop. I probably have enough essence with a bit of selling to basically get a 5-star Ineri and a 6-star Whisper once the shop graces me with such privilege. Have I shared the team? Yeah, I did a video on it, Benzafal. Let me find the video. What up, cat? All right. Well. Oh, where is it? I'm sure I've done a video on it. Yeah. That's the video. That's the video for this team. Wait, you fully booked the 5-star Ineri? Yeah, when you have a 5-star Ineri, you put Ineri in Miracle Heal, then you can fully book it and you can run it like 200 speed, so you can make it a lot tankier and it can go a lot faster because it doesn't need the extra turn. when you don't have that, you need the extra turn, so you're 1-1 with the boss. So, who does an Neri target when she chooses to revive people on auto? Team Order, Green Virus. So her passive will always go Team Order, and her revive will always go Team Order. So because Ninja's in position 2, Ninja gets the first revive. And because she's in the lead, she gets the passive revive. That's why I'm not running an aura. I'm running just her in lead. And what about the 5-star Ineri? I haven't done the 5-star Ineri yet because I haven't built it, but I think Biohack's done one. It's Biohack's concept, really. When I do get a 5-star, I'll do a video on it, but I will naturally call out Biohack because I'm pretty sure it's his team that has come up with the concept. So, yeah, the problem with Dreng is it's just so slow. And I think that's why I dislike the Dreng. It's just so slow. Hey, Russell. First time in the stream. Welcome, welcome. We're just catching up. We're just chilling. We're just talking. How was everyone's times to... Was it times to Ancients last weekend? This weekend? I think it was times to Ancients. I pulled my Ancients because I thought, why the hell not? And I got nothing for it. But hey, you know. You're not fortunate to use Ninja. You can use Chronum. Chronum's like the next best thing. If you haven't got Ninja, then I would suggest people farm, go do your Chronum referrals, just because it's the next best thing to Ninja. There's nothing better, really. Unless you're like moving towards like the Supreme Gaelic, which is like, Void Legendary, so. 90 Ancients got Manaya. Okay, pulled yourself a Rotus. Nice. 80 Shards got nothing. Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm in the Alex boat. Did you see this Mythic? We'll talk about the Mythic Fusion in a moment, probably. Probably actually just go grab the patch notes. Here's the patch notes. Oops, it's the wrong button. Is it faster to do referral to get Chronum instead of using the slow drawing? Probably. Eventually. Knut's better than Chronum. I guess. Knut's not going to do that much damage here unless you're going to bring debuffs, though. Knut will not be able to do much damage here unless you can actually get debuffs out. You're just never going to get enough damage out of it. But, yeah, I can see him being viable whether you die and revive and just replace it, and instead of using HP burn, you just use 30% max HP. I can see that as being viable. But I mean, just generally, what I meant is a general substitute. If you don't have Ninja and you need the Ninja role, then Chronum is your next best option. There isn't really a better option other than Chronum, unless you start going into Void Legendaries. Mythic Fusion talk right after Watch of the Realms portion, right? I don't know about that. Do you know what? I've been running this with RSL Helper, and RSL Helper is capping my frame rate again. So, most UK providers charge expensive rates. What for? For international? I haven't really checked my network for data. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I think I'm with this. Roaming and international calls. Let's have a look. Traveling abroad. Find out about roaming. Where are you traveling to? USA. Pay monthly. Do you have roaming? I don't think I do. When did your plan start? Before. Let's see. Data internet. Buy the add-on. Calls to outside EU. 1. It's pretty chunky, isn't it? I mean, I could literally just pay £15 a month and it will cover everything. I don't even know what that is. Figure out a login for that. They have, by the looks of it, something called a roam pass. Oh, a roam further pass, £15 a month, and you can basically use your thing as if you're at home. I like those kind of things. Because clearly, £1.54 per minute is going to easily hit £15. So if I need to call people or anything, then I can just do that, right? So I guess Reworking could work. It'd be very slow, Chris. I made a list of all my Legos and ordered them on who to book and level in what order, as well as where to. Why was this a waste of time, or would you say to keep? Well, I mean, if you find it useful for your own needs, I don't want an ancient shard. Then it's not a waste of time if you're going to find use out of it. So you're saying I should deck out Chrono Mount, Infinity Break, and replace Dren? Probably. It'll be much faster. So yeah, I've just changed it now. It defaults back to non-unlimited. It's really annoying. It's really annoying. So I could just pick up a temporary SIM card, but that would require me to like take the current one out of my phone, and probably not worth the £15, you know. What is your team for farming oil? This one here, Russell. Godseeker, Neri, Ninja, and 3 Food. So, iPhone has travel data mode. Yeah, I obviously can put it in data mode and everything. I wonder if back-to-back CVCs will become the new normal. No, I mean, it's not that unusual. We've had back-to-backs quite a number of times. So, I just think they're monetizing. I think they're going to do a quiet one next, and then they'll put it back in. It could be the cycle for the new CVC required them to do a personal, maybe. Maybe there's something to do with the changes they're making to CVC where the rankings are going to be determined on your current personal. Maybe that is a reason why as well. So maybe that's it, you know. I was thinking that. Soph Tooch and the Dander Bear. Thank you for becoming a minions. For Dander Bear, 11 months. Has it been nearly an entire year? Like, how nuts is that? An entire year nearly. Really appreciate it for both of you. Thank you so much. I bet Playroom will give you Tesla access now that Ash gave you a huge shout out. Way overdue. I emailed them several times about how helpful. Honestly, I just don't know. You know, I was in the faction games. I thought maybe that might trigger some conversations. You know, I don't know, basically. What's the background picture? The background picture is the Thorongla Pass in the Annapurna mountain range in Nepal. Another picture I took on my iPhone. Yes, did you see? Yes, the personal rewards. We'll talk about some of the changes that are coming now. Let's see. I'm trying to calculate how much I could spend gems-wise for energy to get the primal shard from the dungeon divers running Spider 20. Well, you get 12 points per Spider 20 run on average. Okay? So, in that reality, if you get 12 points for Spider 20, that's artifact enhancement, and you need 6,000 points, then 6,000 divided by 12 equals 500 runs. 500 times 16, that is 8,000 energy. Okay, 6,000 points, 6,000 divided by 12 points, because on average you get about 12 points on stage 20. 12 times and then that means that you need 500 runs. 500 times 16 energy means you need about 8,000 energy in total. I mean, I don't mind that they keep putting a very good reward right at the end of Dungeon Divers. I would prefer if they kind of reviewed some of these early ones, because some of these are pretty trash, right? I mean, you can see I haven't bothered anything. I might push champion training, but I don't know if I have it in me to do another, like, 6,000 for a primal shard, to be honest. It just seems like an awful push. I'm close, but I don't know if I can be bothered, you know? So, I mean, it's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot. I'm pushing towards this Prism. Be great I actually have like 4 hours of spider tournament, so I'll probably smash this tomorrow just to win some spider tournament. Get it out of the way. They seem to be like selling these Prism, like they keep changing up the mini mix pack, which is kind of cool, I guess. I'm pretty much ready with the fusion. I've got everything ready to go. I'm gonna fuse everything tomorrow so that I get the maximum amount of champion chase points for all the champions and everything else. Because CVC is gonna be a hefty one because of these rewards. This is gonna make people go a bit bonkers, I think. 15,000. So I meant background. Oh, sorry. What is your background in? Got it. Sorry, I thought you meant what is my background behind me. It's a bit of a weird one, really. I have an undergraduate degree in English literature and creative writing. I have a master's in philosophy, which is totally a weird pairing. I'm a self-taught computer programmer who also worked 8 years in the education sector as like a administrator / IT manager / support person / everything else. It's only since I started working for HH Gaming that pretty much I've focused exclusively on coding and development of websites and website marketing, SEO marketing, and that kind of stuff. So I'm a bit of multiple different things. So it's really funny that player nerfed the cadaver was word for word what you suggested in your video. You should send a request. I mean, the thing is, Elixium, I mentioned it in my video today. What's terrible about it is the fact that they said 6 weeks ago, we're going to fix it by not nerfing any champions. And you can go, okay, fine. If it takes you an extra 4 weeks because you don't want to nerf a champion, fine, great. Spend your time, do it, go for it. But we've actually just spent 6 weeks only to come back to, we need to nerf the champion. And it's like, so in those 6 weeks, what did you actually try and figure out? Because I could have told you from the get-go that it was never going to work. You know, I could tell you the only way that you can fix Cadaver is you fundamentally rebuild Hydra Clash, and that's never going to be a dev time consumption you're willing to commit. So just bug fix it. I just don't know why we spent 6 weeks sort of dancing around the obvious. So why did I not study computer science? Because the masters for computer science was 7 years, and I pretty much felt that by the time I finished the masters, I'd have to start again, whereas philosophy was 2 years. So that was why I didn't go do computer science. I didn't do computer science in university because it took me about 10 years to finish my undergraduate degree for various different things. I started doing biological anthropology, which is like the biological understanding of evolution. And then that kind of like, I finished that in about a year and a half, and I didn't continue that. Then I went and did remote study and lots of different things. So 300k gets you 2 primals. Your clan wins. People will go crazy hard of it. People will go crazy hard for the mythical tome, probably, because that's the most accessible mythical tome. And also the mythical speed gear. It's very good. G'day, bring back common sense. How's it going? It's also kind of dirty that the fusion has 2 buff extenders with 1 increase in shield size, knowing that that nerf was coming. Yeah, I guess. I don't think any of them really anything really, like, I don't think any of those champions really were going to go into that team composition anyway. That crazy, you know. Could have an nerf, no problem, let the Trundle Beast begin. It's probably going to be that next, so we'll have to see what they're going to do about that. So I do feel like they overdid it a little bit. You know, I do feel like they overdid the nerf. Exactly, Dandaby. I don't know why it was 7 years. It's just that's what they were offering. I was like, what the hell? Like, computer technology advances way too much in 7 years. So, can you show the rewards for other tiers yet? So, tier 4, you're going to get a primal shard. Like, tier 4 is just as good. Like, it's kind of crazy if you think about it, that tier 4 gets you a mythical tome and a mythical shard for basically 50,000 less than tier 6. Then you lose the mythical tome, you keep the primal shard. Primal shard. You know, you get a primal shard here. It's pretty good rewards, right? The gear is good. It's the mythical gear that will be attractive to a lot of people, because mythical speed gear is hard to, you know, hard to acquire. So, as a biological anthropologist, what are your thoughts on the evolution from Kale through Dark Kale to Ultimate Kale? Any Yeah, we haven't had Supreme. Oh, we got Supreme Kill as well. Ultimate Kill. I don't know what the next evolution is, right? Like Majestic Kill. Fiction's in the house. What are the entry-level positions in the game world? Honestly, it's such a cutthroat business now. If I was trying to become a graduate entry level for gaming, I think I would really... I think it's a horrific thing to try and get into because there's so many people trying to do it and not that many positions. And it's a very cutthroat industry, the tech world. Like we already saw like the last couple of years or the last year or so, extreme amounts of layoffs. I mean, the creator of Fortnite just basically laid off 21% of its staff. So it's difficult. But most entry levels, you tend to... It's a bit like the way you would enter into a law firm, right? You'd kind of go in if you want to be a solicitor as like a graduate position you'd have to apply for. Often they want you to commit to their industry for their company for a while because they'll fund your certifications often or fund your training. Depends if you're going for like game designer or if you're going for something more like a systems engineer or like more IT side, right? You can go from like a coding side or an IT management side. There's lots of different things. So I can't wait to see what's going to be bigger than Doom Tower. I know. I did say I'll wait to see when it comes to that. Like, I'll be the judge of whether it's bigger than Doom Tower, not them. Very mixed bag, but very cool. I'm guessing you're mixing in Python and C++ for Raid, or is it C#? Mostly, I deal with more front-end stuff, Lawrence. A lot of the hardcore programming is done by other members of the team. I focus predominantly on, like, Angular, JavaScript, PHP, HTML, CSS, front-end, more stuff. I do dabble in programming, database management specifically, but most of the time, a lot of the big stuff is done by much more experienced people who know how to make or break things. Still being a newbie, read the CVC personal rewards. Do the tiers go up the longer you play, or is it a combination? So the way that your ranking comes about in personal rewards, the last milestone, so each of these milestones here has an entry level, right? So the top 2%, I think it is now, of all player personal reward points gets put into milestone 10. So if the floor of that, like, so if the lowest points of the 2% is like 250,000, then all you need to do is deal more than earn more than 250,000 points to get yourself into milestone 10. Then what happens is your next milestone placement is based on your previous personal rewards. So what I mean by that is, if last time I finished with enough points to be in milestone 10, this time I'll be in milestone 10. So to some extent, you're always chasing one behind. If you decide you want to sit out the personal rewards, you're actually sitting out 2 personal rewards, because on the next time you might be on tier 3 and you essentially have to get the same amount of points as tier 10 here, this one, to tier 6 in order to get back into it. So it's about the last points total is where you get placed, and then the next one is where you get placed. So it's one more floor technically bigger than Doom Tower. I mean, it could be, right? 121, it's bigger than Doom Tower. So who knows? Coming soon, Doom Skyscraper. They could add instant battles for faction mods to Doom Tower bosses and the Iron Twins. Yeah, I mean, I have said, I did say when they released the instant clan boss, I'd much prefer instant like bosses for Doom Tower, like super raids that are like quad 4 for the Doom Tower bosses, because like this just takes like half an hour of my day every day. It's grinding this out to the extent that sometimes I just don't even bother, because I've got so many of the materials anyway. I'm just like, I can't be bothered with it. The only one I'll religiously farm is Dark Phase, the only one that I will make sure I use every single key. So as an avid gamer, where would you say someone like me starts, and this instance will have to be part of a system what HH created to build and contribute all levels? I'll be honest, as a game developer, as in like a hardcore like Unity engine programs, I'm not that familiar. But basically, a lot of mobile game development and a lot of game development in general is formed around 3 main engines, right? It's going to be either Unreal, or it's going to be Unity, or it's going to be there's another one as well. I forget the name of it because I'm so used to mobile tends to go to Unity. So you like learning that would be a good start, and just kind of like, you know, start familiarizing yourself with coding. But I don't know really how to get into game development. I'm much more on the web and service side of development, right? Building websites and services and functions and code and scripts and that side of stuff is much more my forte. Really hoping the Angar rebalance makes him good. I mean, they need to, right? Angar's so basic right now. So basic. You graduated in computer game development last year and currently working as a metaverse developer, primarily doing front-end stuff in Unreal Engine. Yeah, exactly. See, that's a good example there. I was saying most of the game development these days tends to be in one of those 3 game engines. Metaverse, I'm guessing, is associated with Meta's metaverse, you know, Meta's AI world that they're building. Do I have Sigrun? I have no mythical champions. Boring question. How would one build Xavia? You want her to have damage because her skills, even on the poison explosion, do contribute. So, you know, probably build her for damage. Crit rate, crit damage. Yeah. Just recently got my 6-star spear. Can we see your seer again so I can compare and contrast? You can. Where is it? So we have Lethal Cruel in War Master. And it is at 221 speed, 346% crit damage, 241 accuracy. 3.7k attack if you care about that. Just got your first and... He was my first and third Void Legendary. Oh, God. Unity, Unreal, and CryEngine. It's not CryEngine, it's another one. It's like Wombat or something. I don't know the exact name. Honestly, Fortis doesn't need a buff. He just needs to work how he's written rather than a buff, right? Crit damage effects poisons, no, but Xavia specifically is unique in the sense that she has an attack. So the poison damage can't be multiplied by crit damage, but the initial hit can, which can probably like take away like 2 to 3 poisons that you need, because you're going to get the on hit plus the poison explosion as a bonus damage. There's 2 components to it. So it's not the crit damage for the poisons, it's the crit damage for the hit. Fortis rework, I would be for that to be happy with the damage is going to be right. Exactly, right? So what I would do with Fortis, this is how I would change Fortis to make him viable. This should be 100% chance of placing True Fear on all enemies if you proc his passive, to begin with. This should scale as a multiplier of the skill, not a multiplier of the multiplier. Right? Because at the moment, it's multiplying the multiplier. See you later, Trev. So, it should multiply the skill total like Soulless does, right? It should be an extra component that multiplies the final damage rather than it multiplying the skill multiplier. And I would then also like it to do something other than True Fear for bosses. Which might be too hard to code because it could be that there's just too many skills that interact with fear. But I feel like he's totally useless when you get to the boss, which is the main problem, because you can never activate this when you get to the boss, right? So maybe what this should happen is, this skill is a 40% chance to unlock for 1 turn whenever a fear or true fear is placed on an enemy. When attacking a boss, has a 40% chance to unlock. Just so I can use this ability on a boss. Because that's what I want to do. I want to use this ability on bosses. I can't, so I'm always stuck with this and this, and he becomes a little bit worthless. So that's what I would prefer, if we can have that, and then it's really good. Am I looking to give Watcher Realms? I did give it a try. It wasn't something I really enjoyed. I much prefer Dragonair. I find Dragonair more engaging than Watcher Realms. Can I see your Syl and Artak? Syl is not built, but I can show you my Artak. Outlook on gear for Siegfried. The problem is Siegfried, they've already said he's going to get a rework, right? So it's kind of like whoever designed Siegfried had this like impossible dream of one scenario which everyone has died except for him, and he hasn't had block buffs already, and he doesn't get ignored, and all these other factors and all these other things, right? There's this impossible dream that the one scenario that Siegfried does works, and really the game designer for that champion should have been a bit more realistic and gone, you know, that is not the way that it works. So the fact that already they're talking about reworking Siegfried tells you how bad it is, because essentially you can never really metamorph. He never metamorphs. The whole point of mythical champions is you want to metamorph. But because his metamorph is not an action that you can take, you're forever locked out of it. What's his problem? I'll show you now what his problem is. Sorry, I had to step away. Don't know if you answered any question. Did you say I can just replace Triangle and pair with Chrono with Godseeker? I mean, technically, Green Virus, if you have Jamasa, you don't even need the Godseeker. You just need to make sure Chronum goes one turn. It takes 4 turns before he dies, right? So he just needs to be tanky enough that he can take 4 turns, because with Jamasa, Chronum revives himself. So you don't even need the Aneri. You can just solo Chronum. Best sign level 20 with endgame champs, but terrible regen gear. The only build that I have to make really strong is the Aneri. Ninja can just be dying, it doesn't really matter. Do you think there will be a free Ultimate Death Knight code for new players in the future? Maybe. Maybe they will. I actually need to claim the Wukong on my free-to-play. I haven't got time at the moment. I probably will pick the free-to-play up maybe back in November when I come back from Vegas. No, you don't need 330 speed. My Godseeker Aneri is only running at 271, and she's going 1-to-1 to the boss. It's a 5-turn cooldown, so you're absolutely fine to go a lot slower than that. This is my Artak build someone was talking about. Where is it? Where is he? He's up here. So he is, his sole job, the sole thing I use Artak for is Ice Golem Hard. That's what I use him for. Stalwart minus 30%, Defiant. So he's got minus 45% AoE. He's in 5-star with Soul Reap, and we just build him about 200. I've been trying to work around his passive because I don't want him to outrun the resistance buff of Owella, and he likes doing it. Enough accuracy to land debuffs. Resistance is tied to Owella's aura and buff. 4.2k defense and 84k HP. If I ever get him to 6-star, I would be entertaining the idea of potentially going towards Ward of the Fallen to reduce the damage he takes by 30%. Right? Because when he gets to Ward of the Fallen, every time he deals damage, he will get his bone armor back. So he gets basically 30% damage reduction on top of the AoE, so he probably becomes invincible. I could maybe even run him without Owella at that point and just run him solo, because this would make him invincible. So people say Miracle, yeah, but then you lose the value of the passive. You actually want the passive because it gives you so much defense and speed and resistance, right? You want the passive, you just need to manage it so that he doesn't outrun his buffs. No, I have him I don't have War Master because it runs the risk of you dying, you know? Runs the risks. What is Owella's stats? Owella is built in... Again, Stalwart Defiant, trying to minimize damage. 244 speed, 233 resistance, 277 accuracy. I'm not really using a decreased speed. I don't really care about it. 4.6k defense, 66k HP. She can sometimes tank the Ice Golem counterattack on her own. It's quite strong. And again, no War Master, just basically timed intervention so that she gets turn meter and boosts. What's your end game, Sav? Where do you see all things taking you in 3 to 5 years? And what's your dream position after the grunt work? I don't really forecast. I don't really look that far. You know, probably in like a year and a half I want to move house. But, you know, see, it's such a new experience we're going through with the Fateless side of things. I don't know where that's going to take me. We don't know what other games we're going to start supporting with HH Gaming. That's the key plan. I'm not really looking to... I'm kind of looking to just enjoy what I've got, if that makes sense. The majority of my life has been focused on chasing a dream, right? I'm chasing the undergraduate degree, or I'm chasing university academics, or I'm chasing the next big thing, or it's nice for us to actually be able to sit here and go, do you know what? I've chased a lot. I'm in a good position. So the problem with Siegfried is this metamorph can only activate when he's the only one alive. And because this passive, the concept of it's meant to be everyone dies, he stops the damage from killing him, he gets block damage, he gets a turn, he metamorphs. When he metamorphs, he then becomes this like Cardiel-esque where he can revive everyone and give them block damage, and then they can take a turn. That's the concept of it. The problem is, and the reality of it is, there is just far too many champions that can make this passive not matter. That can just make it not matter. If you do block buffs, Uko can steal it, you remove it. It's just not a reality in which this matters at all. The other way you get around is just hit him first, so it activates the passive, then you one-shot him, right? It's just not a reality. So he's going to get bug fixed, because this is just... I could have told them from the bat, if you want to make a champion that's designed to metamorph, and then you lock that metamorph ability behind a very niche scenario, it's never going to work. So, Sapphire, I see you in Vegas. Will you help me with your Hydra team? I'll buy you a pint. I'll give it a go. We'll see what we can do on the move. I'm not going to be in Vegas for the Grand Prix. I think that's a couple of weekends after when we're there, unfortunately, which is a shame, because it'd be quite cool. Can I post the share link again? Yeah. There you go. Yeah, it's about like the Ugo thing and how many of us actually use Ugo for the revive, right? It's the same problem in Leoris to some extent. You can just block the unkillable. So the only difference with Leorius is if it fails, he's probably going to one-shot you, right? Because of his passive. Whereas this guy isn't going to come back and one-shot you. And really, his second form is his best form, because it's the cleanse and the heal. His second form is Cardiel-esque, right? This form is Cardiel-esque. This is the form you want to be in. But the main form is more damage, and it's just not enough damage to matter. So it's not bad, though. It's just not that crazy, you know? Hey, Shooter. So yeah, I can expect he's gonna get fixed as well. Well, what often happens, Citizen Z, that's a visual bug. What normally has happened is he's already died. This passive is already procced and it's on a cooldown. So when you kill him, you're actually killing him. It's just a visual bug. Can Mythics work on auto? Yeah, you can tell it to metamorph, right? So the way you need to approach Mythical champions are there are 2 champions in 1, not 1 champion in 2. So what I mean by that is you need to build the champion and pick the champion around the form you want to use, right? So in one form, he's a healer. In another form, he's a damage dealer. He's not a great example to show this, but a good example is probably someone like Mesamol, right? Mesamol in a primary form is much more of a single target arena nuker. But you might actually want to use Mesamol as a wave clearer. Well, in that case, you'd put her into Form 2 on auto. You'd basically say Metamorph and stay in that Metamorph, because then you're going to be doing True Fear and attacking all enemies. You will build the champion based on the form that you want, right? So, for example, with Garrel, you might want to Provoker, right? For Hydra. If that's the case, you stick in Form 1. But actually, if you want to use Garrel correctly, you'd use it in Form 2 and just have a massive nuker, constantly nuking. It's the same with the Dwarf. Right, Frolny in Form 1 is like a scaling damage dealer, like a Mountain King-esque thing. But in his Form 2, he's a tank. So again, you're going into it, am I building him as a protector or am I building him as a damage dealer? So with Mythical champions, it's all about picking the role, then building around that role. But what's cool about them is you have the flexibility and options to use him as a damage dealer. Then maybe later on you need to use him as a protector. Then maybe you want to use him as a damage dealer, right? You've got 2 champions in 1, not 1 champion in 2. That's the value. You know, for example, Arbeus, right? Another one, Arbeus, the other one here. So in Form 1, it's more of a, like, turn meter support. In Form 2, it's more of a tank support, right? Healing, burns. So Form 2 is much better for Hydra. If I was building this champion for Hydra, I would use Form 2. I wouldn't use Form 1 because I'm getting continuous heals. We've got a Taunt. We've got Leech. We've got HP Burn. We've got like more continuous heals, right? That's just much better. We can place decrease speed here. Whereas on Form 1, we're doing petrification. It's much more of an arena style build. So again, I'm looking at it from the perspective of what am I going to use it for? I want the alternative, build around the alternative. Right? That's how you build mythical champs. I wish Ash had pushed for you to be on the test server. I actually don't think he realized I wasn't in. I don't think he realized I wasn't in the test server. I don't think he realized I wasn't in the program. Right, we just got to do this quickly. I want to do it low points because I don't want to climb too much. I think the best mythical champion right now is Garrel. Garrel Bloodmaw is the best by quite a mile. The alternate form of Garrel is probably the hardest hitting ability in the game when you get it right and you get it scaled up. The repeating A1 that's AoE is nuts. It's like a Fushan A1, but it's AoE. It's crazy good. And anyone who tells me that Garrel isn't top tier meta is just not using it right. Or they've got Taras, so it doesn't matter. In Demon Lord, if I rock 2 DPS, 2 pieces and 1 debuff, what buffs should I be prioritizing defense? I mean, if you're running a traditional team, you absolutely have to have ally protection, and you absolutely should have strengthen. Those two, before anything else, add so much more value. Should we talk about the new fusion? I feel like we haven't talked about the new fusion yet. We've been talking a while, but I feel like this is worth talking about. Lady Macaj. Lady Macaj. How long would it take me to get rid of all my red dots? So long that I don't want to do it. That's why I haven't done it. Lady Macaj, this is going to be a permanent fusion. And what I mean by permanent is like Razin. Once you do it, it goes away. But until you do it, it will stay there permanently. We don't know the concept. We don't know the... by concept as in, we don't know how you will fuse it. Do you need to use legendaries? I hope to God you don't need to use legendaries. If they require you to use legendaries, I'm already picturing like the dumpster fire as the kind of like the armada of the free-to-play community goes absolutely mental and starts burning down the House of Plarium and all this kind of nonsense. Like, I think it would be a mistake on their part to basically to make it legendary. I think what they should do is they should make it so that you need a special reward drop from content areas in the game, that you have to complete certain aspects of the game in order to acquire that, and then you basically can unlock it, right? They do this a little bit in Dragonair, where you basically get quest items or you get unlocks and then you can like upgrade your camp, right? That model would be better, because tie it to difficult content, not just make it legendaries. Because the problem you're going to have, if you make it a legendary fusion, all of the Krakens are going to do it on day one, because they've just got it available. So it's like you've made this new mythical fusion and it's just done straight away. There's no longevity to it. And one of the key things I remember from her last interview is they were looking at ways to extend the requirements or the challenges for end game players, so there was more things to do once you completed the majority of the game. Well, if they release a brand new permanent fusion that you can complete in 5 minutes, that doesn't really correlate with that strategy. So I can't see it being legendaries. I know it's the obvious thing, but I feel like that's just a mistake. I feel like it would be a big mistake. Especially coming off the back of the last update, the last thing you want to do is add more fuel to the fire. You know? And how many, like, we learned from the life token system that they've all of a sudden remembered exists. Nobody wants to burn 5 legendaries for a St. Nicholas. So, if they're not going to do it in the life token system, they ain't going to do it for a fusion. Because I'll be honest, she's good. I think she's really, really good. She's not worth burning legendaries over unless you've got a lot of them. And how many people actually have a lot of them that they're worth burning? And what if there's specific legendaries you need? Right? It's kind of like, you know, I'm absolutely fine with it being legendaries if the legendaries are acquired in a decent way. Because if you think about it, you only had to acquire rare champions to acquire Razin. Okay? So yes, it took you a lot, but at least it's rare champions, the most like voluminous champions you get. They're the easiest champions you can get. It might take you a while to get the one rare champion you need, but it's like the lowest one apart from uncommons and commons in terms of champion density. So as long as you ran like 6 months to 12 months worth of ×2 ancients, you're eventually going to get it done. Now, this could be 16 rares into 4 epics, and 4 epics into 1 legendary, and then repeat that 4 times. Which, if that's the case, is not so bad, because majority of Krakens probably don't have those rare champions. It will make the next ×2 ancients a bloodbath, but that could be the way they do it. As long as the legendary champion is acquirable from a reasonable, accessible position, then it's okay. If they just make it, oh, hey, you need 4 Kreelers, no. That's going to really, really upset people. You know? And I think that's the key. They've got to make sure that they balance it out properly. You know, they literally could make it. You need 4 unique epics per legendary. You need 4 unique legendaries. And you need 4 unique rares per legendary. Per epic. Which means you need, like, what is it? 4, 8, 12, 16. 16 times 4, like 64. Whatever the math is. So it could be new legendaries, absolutely. I 100% don't think it's going to be just pick 4 legendaries and get the champion, right? I think that's not going to be what they would want to do, because it would be too completable. It would be too easy for the top players to just go, well, I've got to spare a few of these. I don't really care about them. Let's just go get the mythical champion, because why not? We'll see what happens. We'll find out on the 12th, because it's going to be in the game after CBC, right? That's when it's coming. So, but let's talk about the champion. I think this champion is very good. For one thing, this champion is, in my opinion, the best ally attack champion in the game. The best. Can you lock Mythical into one of it? Yes. In the AI tool, Elixium, you can basically tell it to use Metamorph or not. And once you tell it to use it, it won't reuse it. So you can basically tell it to Metamorph, and then you're good. Like, basically tell it to open with Metamorph and then keep it in that form, because it carries across waves. So this A3 here is the best ally attack in the game, because no other ally attack that I know of provides increased attack and increased crit damage in the ally attack. Which is important, right? Because you get the attack buff with it. You know, other ones do increased crit rate and increased crit damage. Others do increased crit rate. Others do like Longbeard is 20% bonus damage, which is really strong. But I think the attack buff is stronger than 20% bonus damage. I can see this being used in Fire Knight Hard, because of the combination of the A3 with the A2, right? So the way that you would run it is you would use increased attack and increased crit damage to do that first ally attack into Fire Knight. Then you can extend all of the buffs, including increased speed, with the A2. So that Razzlevarg setup, where you got Razzlevarg into Farrakhan and Longbeard, you could replace the Longbeard or the Farrakhan with her, and she'll extend the speed buff, which means it's much easier for you to keep speed going fast, because that probably means you can keep 100% speed up. That changes the team accessibility significantly. You don't have to go so crazy fast at that point. You also get increased attack built into the team, so you're killing the boss quicker, which means you've got less opportunities to fail. This A2, by the way, is absolutely insane. Not only are you going to reduce the enemy's buff durations, you're going to increase the enemy's debuff durations, you're also going to increase your own buff durations and decrease any debuffs you have. It's like so strong. So strong. So strong. This A1 is a shame that it's like their default skill, because if you could have got like Gory to attack with this A1, it would have been god tier, right? If you could use Gory's A2 with this A1 from this champion, it would have been so good for Fire Knight Hard. But there are some very good like single target A1 Shadowkin damage dealers, like you got Jintoro, you got Karato. So there are, you know, some pretty good ones. You could even use someone like Yumiko and drop turn meter with it, right? So the fact that it's Shadowkin only is a bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world. It's actually still quite good. And then don't ignore the passive here. At the start of this champion's turns, cleanses the ally with the highest attack. She basically keeps your Nukas free. So you get the best ally attack in the game with increased attack. You get a buff extension. This kit, by the way, is completely polymorph friendly. You can decrease buff durations That will not trigger polymorph. So this base form is already a crazy good champion. 80 accuracy in all battles aura. Really, really, really good. Really good. Really, really, really good, right? And we also have then the alternate form. I don't know whether this can be used in some places, right? I don't know how much of a problem the decrease in the turn meter would be using her alternate form as the sleep champion in the Sand Devil team, which is like the Kraken team, right? At the moment, people use Siphi in the Kraken team. I don't know if this is just better than Siphi because there's no conditions. I don't know if the turn meter, I know you lose like max HP. I don't know if it's a problem. I think it'll be okay. But this could be really good for just replacing Siphi because there's no conditional check on it. It makes it a bit easier. And you also will like, it'll reduce the turn meter a little bit. I don't know if the turn meter is a problem in my head. I'm thinking it could be. This A2 is basically what Basatha does. He stuns everyone and he decreases the turn meter by 30%. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what Basatha does on his A3. Yeah. Basatha's A3 is attacks all enemies. There's a 75% chance of placing a stun for 1 turn and decreases the enemy's turn by 30%. So she's basically got Basatha's A3 but on a 1 turn less cooldown without requiring books. The Doom of Yakai is not bad either. The Doom of Yakai is very good for Hydra because you can place yourself, increase accuracy, and then get rid of all the buffs, and it's not going to attack, so it's Poison Cloud friendly. So you can use that to basically cleanse all buffs and place weaken. Yeah, I mean, I think her base form is better. I just don't know how much the turn meter punishes her, because obviously when you reduce the turn meter in Sand Devil, you destroy your max HP, but I think it could be good. Does it mean... It means that when you use this skill, it has 20% ignore resist. Siphi doesn't need accuracy, yeah, but you don't need that much. Like, Siphi needs to be above 50% turn meter, right? She's 100% without requiring the condition, so... Yeah, okay, there's always a 3%. I'm just using it as a thought process, Nexard. I know it's not perfect, but how many people have Siphi, right? I'm just saying, if you don't have Siphi, is it a pretty good rate? Is it a good substitute? You know? There's always... I always try to think of what champions can do as a substitute role. Are they viable to replace someone, right? Is it viable? What can we use as Riho as an alternate to that champion slot? What can we use as an alternate to Whisper? I think she's probably, out of all the champions in the game, the closest one to be able to do that. Depending on affinity, though. What is the affinity of Sand Devil 25? Let's have a look. Affinity is good, 25, because a lot of the sleep champions are not good affinity for 25. So she's neutral, so she would be fine for it. But yeah, I mean, 3% is always a risk, right? But I think the Metamorph, I don't know really, I think they've just copy-pasted when they shouldn't have. I did mention it to the mods, that's a mistake. I don't think it should be there. Yeah, I was just looking, can it be a replacement for Siphi? Because you actually might not want to have your Siphi in your Sand Devil team. Right, you might prefer to take 3% risk because you want to unlock your Siphi for other content areas. I think she can play the Siphi role and do that job for you. It's all she would do because the rest of her abilities are not very good, and she potentially just has a little bit too much turn meter control for it, but it can play it. This is the way you would look at it is, depending on accessibility, this would be a kit that I would say is great for progression. But I think the problem is going to be you're not going to get it when you need it for progression, because you get sleeps, you get lots of turn meter control, you get CC, you get, you know, buff removal, you get increased accuracy. This is the kind of kit that I would expect on a fusion to help someone who's in mid game, because it carries them through wave content. It helps them on like high end accuracy requirements in like Doom Tower. You know, you get good amount of turn meter control here, and if you need to then switch back to do an ally attack, you can. I think the secondary form is not as good as the primary form. Honestly, I think this primary form is god tier. I think this primary form is madnessly good. It's like very, very good. Very, very good. And again, as I said with mythical champions. You can't think about using both forms. You've got to build it as if, am I going to use base or am I going to use alternate? I would build this champion for base. And I would build it around the ally attack and the buff duration, and I would use it to cleanse my attack damage champion all the time. Keep in mind, this could be a torment counter for your Nuka in Hydra. Because every time she takes a turn, she will cleanse the fear away from anyone in that's got a fear that's got the highest attack. So she could be like a torment cleanser for your Nuka, right? It's all about the base, right? After A3, will A1 launch someone again? No. No, you can't join attack with a join attack. No, it'll be once. So frustratingly, you really do need that book on the A3. So it's kind of an expensive book to get. You don't need the rest book though, because I doubt she's gonna have much crazy damage. You know, she's an 80 accuracy aura as well. It's really powerful, right? We use Gnut a lot because he's got an 80 aura. It's very big. So yeah, I think overall, I think that it's a good champion. I think the alternate form is a lot weaker than the primary form. You know, I think the alternate form is a lot weaker than the primary form. Can you show your coolest move for the club when you party? God, no. Hey, Saf, I've got every single champion in the Prism pool. I have 25 crystals. Should I do the Sand Devil in order to pull one shard? I mean, a second Gnut is, like, strong. The things you can do with 2 Gnuts is, like, disgusting. So, if you haven't got 2 Gnuts, probably... Like, whenever there's a Sand Devil turn attack, that's like my signal for now I need to do, like, that's my oil farm signal. That's when I now dedicate my energy to farm oil, is when there's a tournament. It's almost like the signal for me to go and do it. So I would say if you're done with the fusion, not got much better to do, and, you know, it's a good time to do it, right? Can Gnut work for Sand Devil? Apparently it does work. I mean, it 100% works on the 10-second farm team, which is like, you know, Riho, Sify, Reset, Kaimar, Double Nuts. That really works. Hey, Saf, out of topic, but to climb Sand Devil, Godseeker needs to be at least 1 speed than the boss, but what about Ninja? I suggest around about 20 to 25 speed. Koi works. Ninja should be around about 20 to 25 speed to your Godseeker area if you're climbing the tower, the levels, yeah. That's what I suggest. How many points am I on so far? I don't really want to do Sand Devil tomorrow. That's why I've been doing it today, because it's slower and it's going to be a hefty CVC. So I've been, like, kind of climbing here. I'm quite far off, so I'm probably going to need to commit another, like, 500 on top of this, like 700 to 800 energy, if I'm being honest. What I need to do, though, is... Why is that number weird to me? Buy some of that up. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for tomorrow. Won't have this one. That's fine. Just people still do it. I've been decaying. I will probably start doing it again now once I've decayed, because I need to do my Fire Knight. But, you know, I guess some people at the top still do it. I don't enjoy it. I do it because I have to, not because I want to. What would I use Royal Guard for? Hydra, yeah, you could. Or, like, Dark Fae, he's very good at. Blah. A little bit better than Gnut because he's faster. What Gnut is really good at is one-shotting something. If you can one-shot it, it's better. The moment you can't one-shot something and you have to take your time is when it gets a little bit less valuable for Gnut, because he loves a waddle, does that dwarf. The dwarf is a waddler. Yeah, I mean, I'm just doing finite hard at the moment. I've kind of wanted to drop back out of gold for a second so I can get enough. Like, I need 120 silver medals to upgrade, and then I can use my gold medals to basically go straight to plus 14. So I've been waiting for that, like, drop down, and then I'll stay in gold, and I'll basically start farming all these up. So once I've done finite, I'll probably do, like, the speed in clan boss, and then crit damage in clan boss, maybe. But basically, my priority at the moment is finite speed, finite ignore defense, then finite crit damage, and then we'll see where the rest goes. All the dwarves have the waddle issue, yeah. I've used the key, but if you... let's see. I'm pretty sure my shared team will have it. Silver Watchers... I basically use Mistreader, Dithy, Oella, Emic, Trunkheart, Elven, White Dryadnir in some builds of forms. If you use my share link, you can find it. I could have done Dandabir. I almost just didn't want to go in to it, right? I almost just didn't want to experience the hassle. If that's the right word, right? I just didn't want to have to, like, even look at Live Arena. Right then, I suppose we should start doing Hydra Clash because I need to get this done for before CVC. I don't really want to be doing it tomorrow. So. And I care about my win rate. Yeah, you got it. Okay. So we're here again in this wonderful world that is Hydra. You know, this is probably the last time we have to worry about Cadaver. You know, if the patch is coming on the 12th, then this should be the last Cadaver Clash. And then we're moving to Thunder Clash, right? I don't really need that right now. So ideally we want about 100 million here to help the clan out, and I also want to hit 650 mil. So the goal is about 100 mil on Nightmare as always a minimum. It's always the minimum point. I kind of want to kill a Wrathhead because a Wrathhead is always a nightmare. Got a nice Cycle of Violence proc there. Oh, she 3%'d. Morley. She 3%'d on me today. Joe, I think actually that's Morley's first 3% that I've ever seen. Somehow I don't think we're getting back around to the provoked before that happens again. Morley. Oh, and that's even 3%'d as well. Why am I using that? That's pointless. Well, this is about to get rough. Eek. Maybe Gnut's got an A3 and we can just one-shot one head. I should have saved that as well. Oh, it's one more turn. Oh, that's painful. That is so painful. Here it comes. Oh, one more turn. Okay. Let's do that, see if we can get some kills. Well, we can kill at least one head, so we'll only get cleansed off the Wrath head. That was more that I was worried about, was getting cleansed on the Wrath head because we didn't have decreased attack then, and he would have done some silly damage. We can recover when it's just these 3 heads. Because it's a bit annoying, but... should be alright though. Next stream, how to make the Trunder team. Yeah, I mean... I'll be honest, I'm much less offended by the Trunder team because you actually need a lot more effort, right? I know some people were trying to make the case, and rightly so, that the high-end Cadaver teams did require an awful lot of finesse and ability and knowledge and game and experience and gear, right? I get it. Not everyone's going to hit 35 billion. But even the non-basic stuff, like you didn't need like a specialist... Like you didn't need a specialist team, did you? If you think about it, you could just run Like, you could just run the team and get like 3 to 4 billion and still beat out any top-end tier team. You know, even Trunder will struggle to breach like 4 billion, I think. I know I've seen some crazy Trunder teams, but I think Trunder is a lot harder to build. So that's a bit better, you know? Do you think playing will lower the amount needed for the first personal reward chest? I doubt it. If they do, it will be another another 6 months. They'll only do it if they're seeing participation really, really, really low. You know, there are a bunch of other fixes they need to do before Hydra is even remotely good, but you know, it's progress, I guess. Trunder can do for more than 40 billion. Yeah, but I don't think more than 40. Nah, not more than 40 billion Nexard. That's not true. There's no way that Trunder can do more than 40 billion. It's just not possible. It can probably do a good 6 billion, but there's no way that it's doing 40 billion. Just no, there's no way. I'm happy to be proven wrong. Well, not so much, but I'm pretty sure, like, the hardest I've seen a Trunder hit maybe is about 10 billion. Maybe. And that's pushing it. It certainly can't do it on, like, Brutal or Nightmare, right? Probably shouldn't have done that. Nice, we got the right heads up. This is great. I don't think 2 Yumiko Trunder can hit 40 billion, honestly. I don't think it can. Yeah, you're going to need some crazy gear for that. Hypothetical, player room hires you get free reign to make any changes to the current content you want. Plus the use of their programmers. How long does it fix you to take everything? I mean, how long does it come up with the suggestions to fix the problems? Give me 24 hours, I can fix the game. Like, literally give me 24 hours and I can find pretty much solutions for all the major problems in the game. As to how long it takes to implement that code, well, that depends on how long it would take to develop some of the features. I'm not privy to their development life cycle and their resources. But I'm pretty sure, give me a good month, give me a good patch window, and we can make some significant changes to the game. Trunder record from start is 4591 million. Is that 4.5 billion, yeah? It's just, I just don't think you can cycle it enough, honestly. I know WMACO resets themselves. I honestly don't think it can cycle to the extent that Cadaver can. We'll see, I guess, when they get their hands on it. If it's still as bad, then they'll nerf Trunder. They need to nerf Yumiko. That's the root cause of the problem as well, but, you know, this is player we're talking about. They do it bit by bit. I always hate this part of the team where Gnut gets eaten. It's always the worst part of this. Because I gotta basically get Gnut out, and the longer he's in there, the worse it is in terms of just like everything. Like there right now, I'm not using the A3 because I want the buffs before I actually go in and do it. Now I'll do it. It's fine. Drop Terminator. Don't need to provoke. I should give him out. There we go. Hey Zaf, do you think Trunder needs Ignore Defense and Hydra damage build? I don't have a good Relentless. If not, why do you think the optimizers... why do you think HH optimizers... I don't think the optimizer knows at the moment if you've applied Weaken. I think it's a bug at the moment. Some abilities work nicely where it understands the criteria of a skill. I don't think it does it with weaken. So you almost have to like set 0 defense. It's something I need to fix at some point, but I just haven't had a chance to actually dig into it. But if you can't go relentless, then I would absolutely go Savage Cruel for the A3 and the A1, because it does add a lot of damage. Yeah, but next on, you do get penalties for when they revive, which you didn't get with the Cadaver, right? You can't just instantly re-kill them. You have to wait for the timer, so you probably will get consumed at some point. It won't go as long and as easy as the Cadaver. There are issues. Yes, you can hit really, really hard, but I've yet to see a Trunda team breach the 10 billion mark. And I'm happy to be proven wrong. I'm not trying to, like, you know, stand on this and say, you know, I know better than anyone else. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying my experience tells me that there are good Trunda teams that will do lots of damage, but they're nowhere near the level that the Cadaver teams could do. Can I replace Cadaver in my Ultimate Knight mid team, still do 1 key? Yeah, I think you can. I still think you can probably one key Ultra Nightmare, to be honest, because the key with that team is you tank the damage as much as anything else. So that's kind of like what you're doing. Right. Well, 5 billion is a lot further away from 35 billion. So even if you optimize it, you might get 10 billion. That's what I'm trying to say. You might get 10 billion. I'm just saying you probably are not going to get 35 billion. I don't think this shift in the problem. I think you've got to understand with development life cycles, right? You don't fix everything in one go when you're iterating on a product, right? You have to start somewhere. Now that they've released it in its current form, they have to start somewhere. So that basically means they have to work on it bit by bit. If they go in and start making wholesale changes, they might as well rebuild the whole system, which is not what they would want to do from a development lifecycle. They will iterate, and then when the next problem comes up, they'll edge case fix that problem until they get it to a right balance. I think that's what they would do, and that's what a lot of people would do in a general development cycle, right? You basically look at the worst case scenarios. That's how League of Legends works, right? They work their way in, right? They look at all the champion data, and if there's champions on an extreme win rate and champions on an extreme loss rate, they work on them to bring them closer to the center. And then when the center gets too boring, they'll do a big end of season patch to shake it all up again, and then they'll start again, they'll work their way in. They're not just going in every single month changing champions at random because someone said it bad. They're doing it based on a iterative process. And I think that's what they will do with this. They'll probably look at it and go, okay, if Trunda turns out to be just as bad as Cadaver, then they'll nerf Trunda, right? They'll just iterate on it. The problem is they're not willing, I think, in terms of development commitment, and I could be just misunderstanding or like applying what I'm a little bit of bias here, but I'm pretty certain they're not looking to commit development time to rework Hydra Clash at this point, right? They probably released it and they were like, that missed some marks. They might tweak it a little bit, but all they're going to do is add more resources to it. They're not going to fundamentally change the model of Hydra Clash. And that is kind of like the root cause of the problem, because it's based on damage. It's like, what's the next biggest damage key? What's the next biggest damage key? So until they fundamentally fix the actual model of Hydra Clash, it's never going to really resolve the problem, because it'll be, what's the next big thing that I can exploit? But I do agree that double Yumiko is a part of the problem as well. The thing I would say with Trunda, though, is I have long argued that Trunda, irrespective, and this is like, I've argued this 18 months ago, if not longer, Trunda's A2 should not double crit. The second part of Trunda's A2 should not crit. That's always been my case. And I still swear by it, by the current, like, standings of today. she should not be double critting, because what ends up happening is she gains twice the amount of multiplication. Right? She's gaining double the amount of damage, double the amount of crit damage, double the amount of decapitated head. That's why it's really strong. So if you just take that away, then you solve it even further. The thing about Yumiko being a double release, it's only as good as the damage dealer that's going with it. If the damage dealer is able to one-shot heads, then it's always going to be really strong. If the damage dealer can't one-shot heads, then bringing double Yumiko isn't going to work, because you're trying to bypass the Hydra mechanics, and you haven't got the damage to do it. The thing about the Cadaver and the Trunder teams are they can basically one-shot the heads, which means the mechanics of the heads don't matter. Now, I don't agree, as I said, I don't agree with the Trunder being, like, balanced. I don't think it is. All I'm kind of saying is, you've got to start somewhere. And where they've started is the most extreme edge case, which is Cadaver, because it's wholly accessible compared to Trunder. Because, like, what you got to remember is they were running... I should have gone the Wrathhead there. They were running Cadaver teams without Yumikos, and they were doing 5 to 6 billion. You can't really run the Trunder team without the double Yumiko, right? So it's a much more niche team. Now, some would argue that's unfair because it favors the Krakens more. Absolutely. It just means that hopefully diversity will matter in Hydra. No, Baron won't do it because Baron has to kill someone, and you never kill a Hydra head. So Baron doesn't work. Does Taras damage ever cap, or is it the cap with max buffs? It's just max buffs. I think Seer has a cap. Let's do that for the buff. Should probably start trying to get this champion out here. But yeah, I mean, let's face it, there's probably about 10 champion balances that have to happen. One of them is the Yumiko shouldn't be able to reset her cooldown. Just like Kaimar can't reset his cooldown, right? That's kind of obvious. I think we all agree that that's probably not something that should be in the game. There's also things like, I don't believe Warlord should drop your turn meter, for example. I think that's not good either. I also think that... Taras damage is about 25% too high. You know, there's lots of things. Essentially, let's just get rid of this so we get our champion back. There's quite a few number of champions that they just need like fixing to bring into balance. Oh God. I need a heal here because we kind of took a lot of damage. Of course, you hit the Wrathhead. I've kind of taken a lot of damage here, which is not great. I need to try and get some of this cleansed away. And just, like, Mithrala was out for a bit longer than I'd have liked. Is he actually going to be able to kill this? There we go, that's nice. Right, we kind of need to get some healing going on here. See if we can get some healing. That'd be nice if it's some defense. That heal reduction is a bit annoying. We're going to pop the Wrathhead in a minute, so just got to be mindful that we are low HP here. I think she might die, but it's fine because I can revive, so it's not the end of the world if it does die. It's just not ideal. Right, we can heal here. Get that to cleanse. There's the nuke. We pretty much tanked the whole damage. It's crazy how much damage difference when you have strength and shield and decreased attack makes when you don't have any of them. If you have R-Tag on any provoke, you can do major damage to normal Hydra even in early game. Yeah, you can. So I'm just trying to focus to try and make sure I recover the health on my Ugo at the moment, which is a little bit low for my liking. I kind of want to do that. That's nice. It's good. We're getting there. Let's just smack this while it's good. The Wrath Head is the one that pumps the most amount of damage normally that we just want to make sure we kill. Damage out there. I do really need to rebuild my damage Shamael here, to be honest. That's something I should be doing. Strengthen, shield. Can we, like, pop the Wrath Head? That would be lovely. There we go. I believe you're the one calling for the nerf of Cadaver now. What about my clan boss team? I have to build a new one. I still think it's fine for the clan boss team. If you look at the content that I did around requesting the nerf, I was very, very vocal that it should still be able to one-key Ultra Nightmare. I never once advocated that the nerf to Cadaver should also mean the death of the Infinity team in Clan Boss, right? I think that's an important thing to state. They went further than I suggested, right? They nerfed it harder than I would have done. I wouldn't have gone as extreme as they did. But I still think, like, if you attack a target 100 times with 200k limit, that's 20 million damage. And the Cadaver teams, the Infinity comp is designed to last a turn limit. So there's still a very good possibility that you'll be able to one key with the current clan boss team. I don't think you need to change anything. You're just not going to hit loads and crazy damage, right? You're just not going to hit nuts amounts of damage. It should still one key. As long as it one keys, I think it's a fair balance. It just shouldn't do billions of damage because it doesn't need to. Oh god, we are going to have a nasty situation in a minute. The Provoker is the one that's going to get eaten next. And we do not have... Okay, this is going to be awkward. Need to start focusing this Provoke head. We're going to save that. Because I want to make sure that I can instantly get her out the moment it happens so I can get back control. She's got 2 turns, which is not great. On reset day, yeah, probably. So maybe we got one more Hydra Clash. They won't do the patch in CVC, so it'll definitely be available for the first day. Okay. Who's going to eat my... Exactly, Dandabit. I'm the sole responsible problem for everything in the world, right? It's always my fault. Did you not know that I was the one that gave them all the answers to solve every single problem that ever existed in this game? Okay, that's... Need to save that. Should be able to just get her out straight away. This should just get her out. As long as I don't triple weak hit. That's good. We're back out. Can I actually one-shot that? Oh, it's close. I was thinking, can I one-shot the head? Because if I can one-shot the head, then maybe I can just drop the turn meter and reset it. I need to wait for that. I saved your Razvog. I did, see. There are some things I do. I did save the Razelvarg. Oh, wasn't close enough. It's fine. As long as you get decreased attack back out. Provoke. We're alright now. We've managed to manage that situation as best as we could. Let's take that, because we're going to take that, which is what I was afraid of. The decreased attack here is actually massive because it's going to mean that we can tank a hit here because this is going to be a nasty... There's that. Okay. We're not doing great right now. We're not doing great right now. I just need to get back around to some abilities. Right, that's one ability. It's not great. Shamel might have to die here. Find out. Can I drop 2 meter? Can we just kill this guy? Yes, that's good. That gives us time to recover. Oh, that was a bit nasty then. That could have been very awkward. It's always difficult when your provoker gets the consumption marker, right? You're just a bit like, what's going to happen here? Should no healing, that's a bit annoying, but we can now just heal up. And then focus this. Probably should have held until I had A2 from... I probably should have waited for Mithrala's Hex, but it's got 2 turn cooldowns, so whatever. By the way, did they finally fix Emix? I think it's coming this patch. They haven't fixed it yet. I think Shugen is also broken at the moment, where Shugen is giving enemies turn meter rather than not. So reach out there. Oh, that was a nasty crit. Drop turn meter. Hex. This song's really annoying. Need to change that. I think the patch is going to go live on Thursday, on the 12th. They said in the video that the new Primal, the new Mythical fusion is coming on the 12th. So if that's coming on the 12th, the patch is coming on the 12th. And then I think we're going to have, based on the way that they're doing the content release, I think we're going to have then a patch for the champions for the Halloween fusion, right? I think the Halloween fusion is just going to get delivered as its own kind of like independent thing. They've done that before in the past, right? Where they basically just release champions in one go. I hope they also make a big deal about Halloween this year, right? I think to some extent, some of the holidays that they've done, we've been a bit like, oh, they kind of didn't really do that well, you know? I hope we get a little bit more, you know? Do you think they will change MX? No, they won't. Honestly, I think MX A1 might have been OP on its own. It might have just been growing his shield way too strong to begin with. I think 10k was probably a little bit too extreme, but I would imagine the reason why they changed Emic to begin with is he was profiling too strong on other, just general sense. In general, he was giving too much shield. I hope I haven't used the needed fusion champs for the food. Well, I hope not. I do like the change they're doing for the tavern. That's quite a nice change. I'm excited about the Fortis. They've tried to fix it twice. I'm excited about the reality that potentially they will finally accept that they're wrong. It's a very deep reality, that. Steeped in mystery. So I'm excited about that. But it depends what level it rises to. We've actually got a really awkward setup here because we've got Poison Cloud out on 2 heads, especially the Wrath head, which is not great, I'll be honest. We're in a really awkward situation here. I need to do block buffs up now to basically stop the reflect, but that's going to kill a Shamiel. We're in an awkward situation here right now. I'm just going to get rid of this so I don't have to provoke. Just revive him up straight away. Okay, I think we've recovered now a bit. That was just awkward. See you later, Lawrence. Thanks for hanging out. See, still can't put decreased attack. Luckily, we've got decreased attack on for 1 more turn. We're going to save that now because this head, once it loses its buff, we can actually do some damage to it. Just do that for the sake of that. Oh, God, here we go. Do you know what else is coming with this update? Faster shooting Shamael. That's what's coming with this update. Speedy machine gun crossbow Shamael. So we want him like Van Helsing in that film, right? Where he's got like a repeating crossbow. That's what we want. Really fast. None of this like 5-second nonsense. Man, can the Suffering Head take a turn? Seriously. It's wasting my Gnut. There it goes. Okay, well, life barrier is not great, I'll be honest. I really need a full cleanse. That. Right, can we actually get control now? Pretty much. Drop that out. Lovely. Get a cleanse. Fine. We can do some damage. Oh, I should have waited for Hex. I'm an idiot. Oh, it's right. We've got another provoke. It's fine. It's fine. We got another round. Gnut, go again. Oh god, here we go. Repeating crossbow. Yeah, new storage is really good. It's really good, yeah. Now, Mithrala's doing really good here, Johnny, because she's giving me a lot of stability in terms of the cleanse, the increased defense, the increased attack, the strength, and the shield. I find she's just such a powerhouse in general that it's actually hard to replace her. She brings the stability to the team that often is missing. I'm for sure going to lose my Ugo. Oh man, she got a big heal from that War Master, so that was nice. Ugo has been like near death for the last like 3 turns. She might still be near death. We'll find out now. Because that Wrath Head's about to pop off on me. I haven't been able to put block buffs out on Wrath because we're still in the rotation in which she's weak affinity. Do you know what? I'm just going to heal. Strengthen. Because that was coming. That's why I like to kill the Wrath Head in this team, because if you get a cycle where you can't stop the buffs, Wrath becomes a bit of a problem. Now you can see, like, I'm trying to keep my team healed up. It's actually really hard. That'll give us some healing, which is nice. Let's just start hitting this for some healing as well. Do that. Gnut's just going to go and smack a protected champion for no reason whatsoever. Oh, God. What would you upgrade in the Great Hall for Clan Boss for the damage? Crit damage. Crit damage and ignore defense. Oh, I'm sure I'll be inbox, like, full, even. Like, I'm pretty sure my inbox is... Actually, I better check my inbox, because I'm pretty sure I've got items that are due to expire in, like, 5 days. So I better check my inbox. Oh, she's... Come on, get a big heal. Oh, well, we got a little bit. I hope I got a cleanse, because it's going to hurt otherwise. Oh, but we might lose Ugo right now. Ugo is probably dead. I could probably do one. Right, Ugo is probably... I want to say probably dead. Like, it's a fair probability. Having said that, she is getting an out turn. Okay, she's not dead. She's fine. Because we got background to the Mithrala cleanse. She is not dead. But maybe now she can finally put block buffs off on the Wrath Head. And we can get some control. Because that's been the problem. We haven't been able to stop the increased attack, so we've been just taking like so much damage from the Wrath Head. Slow down that head. Lovely. Drop attack. Lovely. Lovely. There we go. Now we're good. It's a real shame that the head we've killed is the Suffering Head and not the other heads, because the Suffering Head would give us a lot of damage on the Hex, but it's going alright. I think we'll probably scrape 100 million with this team. I don't think we're going to get like crazy amounts, but as long as I get to 100 mil, that's all I care about. I've liked, subscribed, and enabled notifications to my favorite content creator of all time. YST, I'm really tempted to get the last Heliolites for Dragonair for the old 80 out of 80. I'm really tempted because you and Fiction have made me do it. Hey Sergey, how's it going? I'm fine, thanks. Apparently that triggered Siri. And Siri is also fine. It's totally your fault, YST. Because you got lucky as well, because you got Urgander and you got the little minion as well, the little dwarf dude. You're not using Ugo anymore. I find she's just like, unless you've got like Supreme Galek or some of the other really crazy block buffs like Tahanarak, I find he's very difficult to replace. Ugo is. I just find she's just so consistent. Yeah, she has affinity issues, but so do a lot of champions. Unless you're going to go to Supreme, like the Void Legendaries, the block buff options is Ugo, I find. Because even Uko has problems, right? Need to get my GNU out. Early game champion recommendations. I would try and build a stage 7 team, which can just one-shot it very quickly. Focus like very strong single target nukers with decreased defense and weaken, and just try to one-shot it as quickly as possible. If you can't get to the higher stages, stage 7 is what you would farm. Obviously, you can't farm the greater or the superior oil, but if you can't do that anyway, you probably shouldn't be spending your energy in Sand Devil at this current point in time. So it's a question of where should you be spending your time and what should you be doing. I need to get this. It's all about getting GNU out right now. That hurts somewhat. Come on. Come on, Knut. Give me my dwarf back. There we go. Make Islin video now. Actually, Islin is somewhat ready to build. I just needed another CVC cycle because I needed to book him. I ran out of books last CVC, so I had to wait one more CVC cycle before I could build the team because he needs the books, unfortunately. So he will be getting booked up for the CVC. So for next Hydra window, so probably maybe Thursday stream, we might build the Islin. I'm somewhat conscious that I've got to work around Vegas with the next Hydra schedule as well. You know, so I probably need to do my Hydra on the weekend so that it's free until Tuesday, and then sometime before I come back, depending on when I come back, I can then do Hydra. I might have to just skip Hydra for a week. We'll see. Because it's going to be rough for me at the moment. Damage here. Is Kanoiki good? The problem with Kanoiki is generally the turn meter boost. It's a good champion. The problem is the turn meter boost can cause it to be quite difficult to speed turn. If you can resolve the turn meter boost, then yes, it's a very good champion. But it is all about, can you get around the speed tuning problem? It's probably the best option for an ally protector in the early game if you haven't got anything else, you know? Is Crushing Ren better than Hero Soul for 6-star Husk? Yes. Well, not for Shogun, but for Hydra, yes, probably. I think. I'd have to run the math to be certain, but I think for Hydra, Crushing Rend is not so good in extreme numbers, right? So what I mean by extreme numbers is like your 10,000 plus, right? Crushing Rend is not going to help you against the Head of Suffering. But Crushing Rend will help you in Hydra generally because they average around about 6,000 max defense if you exclude the Suffering Head. So there's like a range where Crushing Rend is really good. It's around about 2,000 to about 6,500 defense. Everything outside of that range generally is not very good for Crushing Rend. You're down if the clan does a full skip week. We might do. I mean, what is it? CVC this week. I gotta check my dates here. CVC this week. Then I'm off. So I'll be coming back around about when CVC starts next week, Brissinger. So I'll have to see how it works, right? It's going to be fun this week. I got so much to do before we go away, or before I go away, and it's CVC week. So it's like, yay, we've got to lead that, and it's all part of the fun. Just heal everyone up a little bit. Who's next to be eaten? Shamael. Let's pump some damage here, shall we? Nice. And let's kill that. Nice. I still don't know what Temporal Chains is doing here. You know, all this text that keeps coming up. I've been trying to figure it out for like months. I have no idea what Temporal Chains is doing when you decapitate a head. It does something. You just did update 7.5. Is there an update already? Oh, don't tell me they're going to update player and play just before clan versus clan. If they do that, that is going to be like so much rip. So much rip for people. Want to take over my account. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. Been trying to use the mobile optimize, but don't understand what it needs from me in the extract your raid account data. Above the text says your raid account username. And the box says my raid login email. Yes. So whatever your login details for your raid account is what you need to enter there. Not your Hellhades login, but whatever login details you do. If you don't have two-factor authentication, you just leave that box blank. Can I get a turn before this comes in? That would be nice. Yes. Yeah, Soul Reap. What is the problem with player and play update, Saf? Zero number 4. It will break RSL Helper. So a lot of people that rely on RSL Helper auto-clicking during CVC will not be able to use RSL Helper. And it's a big CVC because of the personal rewards. So it will cause outrage. Player and play had update today. Has it? I haven't restarted my game. Yeah, but it's the player and play update that breaks RSL Helper. Swiftcut. It's not the game update that breaks it, it's the player and play update that breaks it. So if player and play has been updated today, I mean, I haven't heard reports of it not working, and normally it would break our extract if player and play got updated. Are we talking about game update or just the player and play client? I'm talking about the game update in the client of player and play. Right? So if they update raid from player and play, not the game, they don't not take it down for maintenance. Sorry, the cat just woke up. So I'm not talking about the player and play program. I'm talking about the game in player and play. If they do it when you press play and it starts updating, that breaks RSL Helper. But that doesn't always mean they've updated the game, as in they haven't performed a maintenance window. That's different. So if all they did was update the player and play program, damn, I was saving that for the next turn. I'm an idiot. Then that is okay, because that will not break any program. Which makes sense why I haven't heard people saying the extractor doesn't work. Because that would break the extractor as well. Yeah. So as long as they don't update the client for the game, which is when you normally get those, you normally get that update when they, the rewards, like you normally get an energy refill and stuff like that when they update the game. So if they haven't updated the game, as in like not the maintenance, the just the program in Player and Play. So there's 3 updates. It's the Player and Play client that you launch from, the game in Player and Play, and then the game itself, as in the content. If they update the second form, it breaks all the tools. Yes, as long as they haven't done the second form, we're okay. If they do the second form, it will break RSL Helper. Yeah, so all they've done is they've updated the Player and Play program, not the game itself. So it's not connected to the to Raid at all. So we're okay. Oh, we're on 78 million. We've been just casually pumping away. You know, I don't know how much further we can go. We did 144 before. Let's change the playlist. Let's go play our usual playlist. It's been a while. Yeah, it should happen Thursday. As long as they don't do it Wednesday or Tuesday, because it will break RSL Helper, and then Farbstoff is going to get about 1 million messages he doesn't want to have. The other thing they like doing sometimes is they'll bring the game down for some maintenance for something during it, which means everyone's auto-clicker stop working while it hits that maintenance window, which is quite funny. No permanent super raids are going live with the update. That's my understanding. I really need the block buffs up, I was going to say. Well, we're not going to be able to do much to the Torment Head in a minute because it's about to get Poison Cloud and there's nothing I can do about that. Is there a better way to run Scarab Team with 2 Allures by replacing Allure with another Infinity comp? There is a better way, it's called Urost. I don't know whether that's an option available to you, but that is the better way. Urost is the way to go. He is the G when it comes to the Scarab. Yeah, I got a Mythical 4-star soul for Frolny. I've got one for Garrel, which is the one that I want. I don't have him yet. Okay. You can run just a Destroy Vergis. You have 80 fragments. Oh, you're so close. He's such a big... He's one of the big Doom Tower champions to pick. Not because you use him a lot. It's just because he makes Scarab King farmable. So much easier. Like, crazy easy. You know, he still needs regen gear, but you should be able to do it quite comfortably. Who's next to be consumed? Nekmo Thar. Okay. Mithrala is pretty good as well, yeah. You just want someone who's got lots of poisons, right? Poisons with some shielding. Yeah, Vergis is quite good. Vergis can solo it if you've got a good gear. But Mithrala is a great option. Absolutely, I agree. When will they fix Super Raids give you... Well, I mean... To be honest, will super raids actually work to give you twice the amount of rewards in clan versus clan? Because normally they don't, right? Normally you can't run spider super raids because you will only earn half the points. So Vargal can speed farm it as well. Yeah, Shooter, you're right, because it's still bugged. What do you think about the summon pool this round? Honestly, the summoning pool is really good. This is what Prism system should be, right? Take someone in my position. I have a lot of champions, but I don't have a Rotus, and I would really like a second Gnu. So I'm like, that's more of a desirable summon than the ×10 will ever be. It's going to be the best opportunity that I ever have of pulling Rotus, because you have such a short pool of champions. If you pull gold, it's like a 1 in 7 chance. You're never going to get a better chance of getting Rotus. So that's what the Prism system should be for. If I want to whale right now, I'm going to get a lot of value for my reward. It makes buying the Prisms more valuable than anything else. What the Prism system shouldn't be is lots of average legendaries with really high extreme paywalls. because it's meant to be a catch-up mechanic. As far as I understand it, it's meant to be designed as a catch-up mechanic. And catch-up mechanics need to be accessible. Otherwise, they're not catching you up on anything. So as long as we get, like, I would say 2 summons, 2 opportunities, or at least 1 opportunity from events, then I'm happy with the system. Because there should be a financial incentive for you to buy it. Fair enough. You want to make a profit off it, fine. But it should also be accessible that if I can farm a few, then I can, you know, I can get some value out of it. Could there be a possibility in the HSS check a gear set and see suggestion champions are like in particular? See suggestion champions are like that particular set. In what context? Because the problem is there's 820 odd champions in the game. So how would you filter that down? Because I could tell you that Savage could work for about 100 champions. And then if I don't include the 100th champion, is that going to result in someone going, well, I didn't use it because the website didn't tell me? It's actually quite a wide request. Now, I will say that the gearing section is one of the most frustrated things that I have, and I really want to improve it. But we have got probably tomorrow. I got a few last minute things that I have to finish and finalize. But tomorrow, I've got some pretty big changes coming for the champion guides. It'll fix a lot of the issues why mythical champions currently have dodgy ratings and dodgy multipliers and skills. I'll also get all the multipliers added for the last batch of champions. I haven't added them yet because I've been trying to get this update out. It will probably completely revamp the champion guides, but it doesn't fix some of the core issues like the champion, like the gearing stuff. The gearing stuff is good enough that it tells you roughly what you need, but it's not deep enough that really gives you a good explanation. I'd rather be more data driven with it. So any chance the Gearix could work with multiple RSL? We actually are talking about that. We started work on it before we did the mobile extractor, and then we kind of pivoted a little bit to work more on the mobile extractor, and the mobile extractor kind of required a lot more changes, which meant that the mobile work the multi-account work we had done needs to be revisited. But it is something that we want to do, is add support for multiple accounts, for sure. We are working on some really cool updates for the optimizer in the background. It'll be a while yet because obviously we've got lots of other things going on. And we also kind of wanted the remote systems that we have added, like remote optimization and remote extraction, to be a bit stable, right? To sit and embed in for a little bit, because we were making so many changes to try and resolve a lot of the issues that were generated from the desktop experience, right? That the desktop experience had gone down. So we spent a lot of time trying to like revamp and revise and improve that. There are still some elements that I need to do, like the swap gearing is not good enough. It's totally on my radar to improve. But multi-account support is one of them. We do want better ways for you to control how to equip gear. That's one thing we want to do. So, how do you extend Brogdon shields? You need to bring champions that have buff extension. Does HH have plans for RSL for Watcher Realms? I have no idea. I know there's been mention or murmurs of it in various different places. I don't know if we actually have the capability of doing it. We'll have to see. There's a lot going on at the moment. That's the big challenge. You know, there's lots going on with Fateless. There's lots going on with the website. There's lots going on with multiple games that we're covering. There's lots going on with the optimizer. Vegas is coming up. So we're just trying to make sure that things are done in the right order, the right time. Honestly, what I'd like the gearing system to be is more data-driven, right? I'd rather it be based on role positioning and usage. So, for example, with Wukong, you can build him as either a damage dealer or you can build him as a debuffer, right? So it'd be better to basically have data driven based on the role that is being used, using realistic statistics and information that is relevant to, you know, those sorts of things. That's what I would prefer. But that is not as simple as it sounds. Be the right way of saying it. I don't know if immunity is any good for anything. The problem with immunity is it's kind of been power crept by Stone Skin. Essentially, Stone Skin is immunity. So why would you use immunity over Stone Skin when Stone Skin gives you more of what immunity gives you? So I think that's the main issue with immunity sets, is they've just been power crept by the Hydra sets. Yeah, like Godseeker, Big G. It's still worse. Every time you resize a window, it resets now. That is something I'm trying to fix, Steeko. One thing I want to do, Steeko, which this probably helps in your fashion, is when it resets the view, even if you were to go to, like, back to your skills tab or your swap gear, the last optimization you did in the local client is still there, so that it's not resetting it. So that it's not resetting every time. That's on my list of things I want to do, so that it has, like, that retention of what you last did. I also want to add local history if we can, which will help with this situation some people ask for, like, well, I want to run lethal or savage, I want to run shield or bolster, I want to run guardian or something else, right? If you can have it in your local history, you don't have to rerun it again. You can just go back and see what that last result was. So it's definitely on my radar to fix some of these, like, issues around, like, the update, right? It's definitely on my radar. I'm not ignoring it. But I felt like we were pumping so many updates that I wanted to let it stabilize for a couple of weeks, and I'm going to attack it when I come back from Vegas, basically. And there was also things we had to update on hellhades.com, right? The mythical champion support. Believe it or not, mythical champions broke a lot of things that I had to work hard to try and fix. It broke a lot of things, because essentially the way that they delivered mythical champions from a programming point of view is they essentially made it so that every champion in the game is a mythical champion, right? So what I mean by that is, in a programming sense, when I look at a champion's abilities and kit and skills, every single champion is considered a possibility that they could have multiple forms. But it's just that every champion, apart from mythical champions, just has one form. So it meant that the stages tool broke, right? Because there's now no longer just one set of base stats for every single opponent you might face. Technically, there is an array of potential stats. They just only have one in that array. So I had to rewrite the stages tool. I've had to rewrite the damage assessments that I do. I've had to rewrite all of the, like, database modeling that I've got in the background for my different programs and everything. It has been quite a struggle bus, I'm not gonna lie. It's just the reality of the way that the system works. They basically converted, like, if you think before, a hero would have had, like, a champion would have had, like, level, it would have been like model number, and then it would have been health, defense, attack, ignore defense, right? They're base stats. What they've actually done now is gone, well, actually the skills and the base stats and the form is all now within an array called forms, and that can have as many as you want. Now for mythical champions there are 2, for normal champions there are 1. So instead of just making mythical champions unique, they've basically made every single champion a mythical champion, but only the mythical champions have more than one form. So it was kind of annoying. Couldn't just do a blank. Well, I could, but that's what I'm saying is that's not the problem. The problem is I have to add support for mythical champions, so I can't just blanket 0, because we did that in the optimizer the first day when it first came out just to get it working. We just basically zeroed it. That's why for... Did he not use his A3? Or did he just weak hit 3 times? We'll find out. When we updated the optimizer, we did just default it. which is why when you optimized initially, when we launched support for it, you couldn't actually... Oh wow, she 3%ed again, honestly. You couldn't use the alternative form. I think I'm just going to hit this dude. But I needed to add support essentially for mythical champions, so I had to restructure all of my database models to assume that they could have multiple forms, then return back to a singular form. It's kind of annoying. How do you think they'll buff Angar just multiplies? No, they'll have to rework his kit. He needs more about his kit, so they'll have to do something with it. I don't really know. It's like, are you asking, you know, it's kind of like, are you asking me to design a brand new champion, or are you asking me to just figure out how to make him useful? Well, Provoke is pretty good. The problem is he's not bad. He's a good provoker. The problem is he just doesn't do anything else. So he needs to do more in his kit now because there are other provokers in the game that just does a lot more than him. Oh, let's provoke. Lovely. Honestly, I'm going to hold that because we're going to get consumed in a second. So we're not in a great state. I think this run's going to come to an end in a minute. Do you think they should buff Norg? He's another one where there's just like, he just doesn't do enough, right? That's the problem with Norog. He just doesn't do enough of anything. It's not like it's bad what he does. He's an AoE block buffs. It's great. The problem is all he is an AoE block buffs, right? Maybe his A1 could do something more fun. It's a War Chief problem as well, yeah. Like War Chief's problem is the reflect outside of enemies is pretty useless, right? If an enemy, if you're fighting an opponent like War Chief, it's a nightmare. But if you're fighting a War Chief if you're using War Chief to try and get the reflect effect, it just doesn't work. Come on, don't weak hit. That's a weak hit. That's 3 weak hits in a row. Thanks, Knut. At least we got a turn to get her out. We need to get her out like quickly though. Come on. Nope. Come on. It's fine. There we go. That took a bit longer than I liked, but just smash this 4 thing, get a stun out on him. Cleanse that off. Heal up. Please have a provoke. Please, Morley, have a provoke. Do not disappoint me today. Morley, you better have a provoke. That's all I'm saying. If you don't have a provoke for me, Morley, you're just dead to me. Come on, Morley. Come on, Morley. Oh, Morley, you are queen of the castle. Why did I ever doubt you? Got lucky there. Alright, go smack him for some stuff. Proc that, might as well. It'll hurt, but it's fine. Oh, that's nasty. Heal up. Wish they'd make Nora good enough for Clan Boss. I mean, his passive is still very strong. There's not many champions that can do that, right? It's only him and Pythian that can do that, so... We really need some healing here. Not gonna lie. It's not looking great. There's some healing. There's a cleanse. Gnu, go headbutt the head of Wrath. Come on, Gnu. Get your Soul Reap out or something. Oh, come on. Okay, well that was not quite what I wanted, but now we got to try and kill this dude. Oh god, here we go. I got my 100 million, yeah, which is great. It's going to make the rest of the Hydra keys much easier. Which is always a nasty thing, right? Give me my Gnut. Well, not quite. Then I got decreased attack from something, or... let's just get rid of that. Heal up. Come on. Give me my dwarf. Preferably without killing me. I don't actually have a provoke. Slight problem. Don't have a provoke. Okay. Thank God for that extra turn. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, it's so close. I really cannot afford... Right, provoke. There he is. The dwarf is back. Block buffs. It's a close one. Was a close one. I feel like all the Aethel champions have been just pretty bad, right? I just feel like all the Aethel ones have been pretty rubbish. Really? I mean, I could try and do that, but... I mean, actually I will, because maybe it'll kill him. Nice. Supposed to that. I mean, now it's basically every million, it means I don't have to do as much on my other keys, right? For Hydra Clash. Every million here is just one less key than I need to do. No provoke, yeah. I don't know, my Supreme Aethel is MVP Vault Guardian. She's very good at a Vault Guardian, that's fair. They're very good Vault Guardians. It's about their only use. I probably should have waited one more turn because I would imagine the Hex is about to come out. Oh no, it's fine. That's probably what it's doing. Hey Joseph, how's it going? Shamael kind of needs to be rebuilt. I originally built him when I didn't have the 3 buff capability, so he's in Savage, which is kind of stupid really now. So he needs a rebuild. Because he doesn't really need to be in Savage Cruel anymore because he always gets 3 buffs for his A2, so we could be pushing more just like raw damage. Hey Seth, since the Prism crystals are roteless, what's your thoughts on buying some? I mean, honestly, if there was ever a moment in time when you're going to buy shards with money, now would be the time. This Prism summon is probably, like, you're buying Sacred Shards, right? This Prism system is probably the best ever moment you're ever going to get a Rotus. So if you were ever, like, if this was, like, your once in a moment, once in a lifetime moment to buy shards, then this would be the event I would buy it for. Because not only does it have Rotus, it also has Knut, it also has Brogni. You know, there's some excellent champions in there. And it is a 12% chance, right? So it's basically you're buying Sacred Shards. But you're buying a much more preferential Sacred Shard, right? Because you're not going to pull that Sacred Shard and walk away with, like, a Tyrant Eliximor. Does Karate work versus Harima as his damage can't be reduced by passives? No. Because ignore defense reduction is not damage reduction. So no. She will still reduce his damage. The only reason why I'm salty about Tyrant Eliximor is because that was my 5-star soul that I got out of stupid soul stones. It's not actually. Tyrant's a great champion, but I'm just being hateful. But $100 for 6 pulls, you're more likely to go home naked. I mean, yes, but when you actually, like, it's all relative, Nexard, right? So if you think about it, a Sacred Shard is normally $20, $25, right? So if you're buying Sacred Shards, which is what essentially the odds are for this run, then you can normally get 5 for the same price as 100. So you're getting a bonus Sacred Shard pull with a 1 in 7 chance of getting Rotus if you pull Legendary. That's why I said if you spend money on shards, now is when you do it. I'm not saying you should do it. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's ethical. I'm saying if you were to spend money on shards, this would be the number one, the best time, right? People say all the time, when should I pull my shards? This is that kind of like, this is the best moment in time. Because you're never going to get a better opportunity at getting a Rotus. I would imagine people who have a +2 or a +3 Rotus right now are going hard if they're Krakens to get a +4 Rotus, because you're never going to get a better opportunity. It's just never going to happen in the game. It's the best opportunity. That doesn't mean you will get it. I'm just saying it's the best odds, right? It's... So... yeah. Absolute duchy. That's why I'll get the one from Sand Devil, and I'm going to hope that the one from that Dragon has enough, and I'll get a free summon, right? I never actually look at the Prism system as something you spend on. I always look at it as they're going to give me a bonus opportunity to get something I wouldn't have got, right? If you look at it from, if I just do Sand Devil, because I would have done it anyway, and I do some Dragon maybe, and get that last bit of Prism, then I got a free Sacred Shard summon that I wouldn't have got before. Because I'm doing Sand Devil not because I want the Prism Crystal. I'm doing it because the Sand Devil tournament is on. It's going to give me a tier 2 Immortal Stone, and I'm going to get oil from it. It's my designated window to do Sand Devil. Yes, it still costs you energy. Everything costs you energy, right? But in terms of like the most bang for your buck, in terms of energy, you're not going to get much better if there is actually Prism Crystals available in the Dragon, that you get a guaranteed Sacred Shard pull on a limited roster of some of the 6 best champions in the game, with a tier 2 Immortal Stone for souls and all the oil that comes with it. Right, you're not going to get better rewards for your amount of energy you'll commit to do that. You know? But the Prism system for me, that's why when they did the one with Duchess, I was very up in arms against it, because it was totally paywalled. You couldn't even earn enough in an event. I always feel like they should open the opportunity that these events have at least one, like just 1 or 2 free ones, at least 1 or 2. And then if you want to go and spend some more money and get some more pulls, then that's on you. But every player should have the opportunity to get at least 1 attempt at it as a catch-up mechanic. And if they did that, I thought it was fine. When they did the Duchess one, they paywalled it. So you couldn't actually earn enough prisms without paying. And to me, that was a failure. It should never ever be that Raid, as much as Raid is a pay-to-win game, there's nothing in Raid that you physically cannot do without spending money. You can do Arena, you might not be very successful, but you can still get to pretty much as high as possible in Arena without spending that much money, right? It's only when you start getting to the upper echelons where it gets stupid. You can complete all of Doomtown with free login champions. You can complete the entire game without spending a dime. What really frustrated me about that Duchess Prism is you literally couldn't earn a single summon from the Prism system without spending money. And that is paywalling. That is the red flag for me. That is the line that I think you should never cross. You should never make something so unavailable that you have to spend money to get even 1 attempt. So as long as people can get at least 1 or 2 summons on this current Prism, then for me it's a successful implementation of the system, because you're offering people the ability to wail hard so they feel like they get more for their money, whilst at the same time offering a catch-up mechanic for people who don't necessarily miss that Brogni fusion or miss the Gnut fusion or something of that nature. And you're also offering like a favorable event generally, right? So for people like me who don't necessarily want legendaries, they want specific legendaries, it's a better system. Yeah, I mean, the run is pretty much over. All I'm really doing right now is I'm just trying to like get as many damage numbers as I can. Oh. I'm saving the A3, because if I A3 right now, I'll kill my Shamael. Ithrala's going to get eaten anyway, so I should probably save it. But I would rather A3 the Suffering Head, so hopefully the Suffering Head is the one that eats. I don't think it's going to be, though. Which is fun. Just do that, I guess. There you go. It's not the Suffering Head. Thrala comes back to us. That was a mistake. I should have attacked this dude. Hey, Augustine. We're doing all right. We haven't had to re-roll this run. This was basically a start one. I mean, it's a long one. It's like an hour we've been at this, but we've just been chatting about different things, you know? I don't even think you could Elfish. I'm pretty sure there was not one single... there was not enough total events to get a single pull from Duchess. You might have had 10 left over, because I've had 10 left over for a while. So if you had 10 left over, you could. But I'm pretty sure... The Duchess one, it was completely paywalled. You had to buy it if you didn't have anything to start with. Did we talk about the Cadaver Fix? Yeah, we've talked about the new Fusion Champion. We've talked about the Cadaver Fix. The TLDR is basically, I think they went harder than they needed to. I feel like the Cadaver Fix was the thing that they were always going to do, but I think they went much harder than they needed to do on it. I think 300,000 would have been fine as well. But I guess... You know, I'm going to assume that they play tested it internally and the number that they settled on which felt appropriate was 200,000. I would like to think that that's how they approached it. They basically ran the team back themselves multiple times until they found the breakpoint of numbers that they felt comfortable with. Because that's how I would do it, right? I would basically run lots of different variations until I got to the numbers that I felt was the maximum that was appropriate. What I wanted. Boof, boof, boof. Big damage. The 100% gear removal. I mean, Nexard, the 100% gear removable without any notice is bad, right? Like, put Cadaver aside, put anything aside. Not having any window of time to actually maximize that is terrible, especially midweek. Right? They should be telling you, hey, in 2 days' time, there'll be a free re-gearing event. Get ready. Right? So you can choose if you want to use it or not. If you want to prepare for it, you can get ready for it. It shouldn't be a case of, oh, guys, we randomly created a man-eater guaranteed void. Or, hey, guys, we randomly turned on free re-gearing for like 24 hours. Good luck. That's just poor. Right? That's amateur. It's inadequate. Players should know what's happening in the game with at least 24 hours notice. Right? I don't expect you to give me a week's notice, but dear lord. Like some games, like Watcher Realms and Dragonair, tell you like 2 weeks in advance what summoning events are coming in. What summoning events are coming. So you know within like a week's time what your summoning event's going to be. So you can choose if you want to spend or not. Right? That's kind of like what Raid should do. I'm not saying months, but like they 100% should be telling you with at least 48 hours notice, in my opinion, that, hey, by the way, we're going to be doing a free re-gearing event in a couple of days. I mean, it is FOMO meta, but it doesn't really change anything because you're either going to do it or you're not. It's not really, in my opinion, FOMO. Because inversely, well, you can have excitement, boohoo, right? So what I'm saying is I'm not advocating for, you know, we need to know everything that's happening months in advance. What I'm saying is it would be much better if on Friday we knew on Tuesday the following week there's going to be a free re-gearing event, but there's also an artifact enhancement event or something happening on the weekend. So you need to choose now what you want to spend your resources on. What I'm saying is they should overwhelm the player with choice so that the player can choose where they want to spend their time, not make it so that the player has no decisions and then they're just like at the whim of mercy, right? A player will engage much better with the system if they get 5 choices, but they can only choose one of them. They might get frustrated they can't have everything, aka fear of missing out, but they're going to enjoy the game and enjoy the system much more knowing that they made the decision in terms of what they felt was best for their account, rather than having a situation where essentially a player will have to either do that free re-gearing on that day because they have no other option, because nothing else was given to them as a choice, because that is when it's going to happen because they were just told to do it. Right? It's not going to lead to a net negative income. It will only lead to a positive income Because if players can choose when they want to spend their time and energy, then they'll spend more time in the game. If they feel like they can't make any decisions anymore, they'll spend less time in the game. It's my firm belief anyway. Oh, damn, I hit the wrong head. Oh, well, never mind. Any idea how they're approaching Fortis? I have no idea. Zero zilch information. It depends on how you balance it, Boohoo, right? People complain at the events right now, not because there's too many of them. They complain because they have to do all of them. Sometimes, right? It's, again, a choice thing in the sense that they know if they commit their resources for some of these average events, then they might lose out on a bigger event because they don't know what's coming up. Right? If we take, for example, the Titan events they did, one of my main criticisms of the Anniversary Titan event was they didn't tell you upfront how many points were available, so you were always left wondering, do I need to do this event? Because in 3 months' time, am I going to not have enough points for the end result, which is where I really want all those rewards? So if you told a player, by the way, this week's schedule is going to be Dragon Event, Artifact Enhancement, this, and this, then players can make their schedule around that. And as long as those rewards are consistent and good, I don't think people complain. A lot of the time, people get frustrated because, you know, it's like, oh, this dungeon dives all of a sudden is a legendary book. Now I have to go extra hard because that doesn't happen all the time. So I just think communication with, like, I'm just a very strong advocate for player choice, personally. I just personally think that player choice is the key to all success. If players are the ones that are making the decisions, then generally 9 times out of 10 they can't complain. I'm sure they would find a way, but that's the way to look at it. Yeah, the Ultimate Death Knight was better because we knew up front. But even then, that communication was a bit funky, right? Because of that bonus event. Because the bonus Dungeon Divers, it was like, oh, we're giving you a bonus event. Well, actually, it wasn't a bonus event. It was just built in. We just didn't know. It just wasn't very clear. That's probably a translation issue, but... By the way, you have enough damage that you'll need to 1-key Brutal and Hard. I know. I'm also trying to help the clan looser. Basically, every 1 million here is less stress on every other key, right? That's the way I look at this. Every 1 key that I do on this difficulty, every 1 million extra damage I do on this difficulty is 4 million less I don't need to do everywhere else. Can someone TLDR the big news? It's probably just the interview, right? That's probably what I'm referring on the big news. Just that we've got, like, you know, confirmed, like a confirmed direction. Honestly, the biggest takeaway that I had from that interview was a reorientation away from new stuff. Right? The fact that they're now putting their time and energy back into quality of life. Things like, you know, someone said in Discord, oh, why are they spending their time making clan insignias and clan levels? I'm like, that's the kind of stuff that adds a lot of value that is good to see, because what it means is they're willing to add things into the game that is not exclusively buy shards, right? Because there's no way they're really going to... They might monetize that insignia by basically giving you, like, the ability to buy different insignias, but I doubt it. So they've just decided they want to create a system for clans that they can personalize their clan and show off a little bit without asking for money. So the fact they're willing to do that shows you that there is a cycle of development which doesn't revolve around revenue. And they're now refocusing their attention back onto champion rebalances, onto quality of life features, onto, you know, trying to improve the core gameplay experience. So that, like, reorientation is probably the most valuable thing I got out of that interview. Yeah, there was other stuff like clan wars and, like, the new bigger than Doom Tower stuff. But what I really heard was, yeah, we understand that we've pushed new champion content way too hard and you actually want, like, you know, better from us. I think this might be the end of the run now. It's just getting difficult to get people out of heads, you know? The consumption time has got a bit low. So it's, can we get one more Gnut or one more Shaman LA2 out, basically? Because the consumption time is like 3. There's no time. Yeah, the new event preview feels better as well. It's just going to modernize things, right? They're probably going to tie in tournaments and events all into one pane. That will probably give them flexibility for free stuff on the right in the future as well, which I imagine is what they want. They want to free up the sidebar to add more things. So, yeah, this is Nightmare. Nekmo, Nekmo, in my opinion, is the best Hydra champion in the game. Better than Acrizia. Because he makes all these teams possible. So, 7.6, I think, will be coming Thursday. We're just now in this phase of, can I just sneak one more of everything? Like, can I just get one more GNU A3, one more Shaman LA3? Should you get one Primal Shard from the market a month? Yes, potentially. I personally think the top chest in Hydra Clash should give you one Primal Shard. Guaranteed, not quartz. I think everyone in Hydra Clash should get rewards. I think that I made the comment about it in the video that I think mythical tomes should exist in Clan Boss. Because the thing is, they've set up a precedent for themselves. I love these interviews sometimes. Because they essentially almost generate a problem for themselves, the way they explain something. Oh wow, he's got Poison Cloud as well. Yeah, it's definitely over now. I'm going to just Gnut the A3 head, I think. I'm going to Gnut the Suffering head, because there's no way that I'm getting Mithrala out of Poison Cloud over there. So I'm just going to bash this in. No refresh. Okay, I think that's it now. 133 million, it's pretty good. Yeah, I don't want to see more increased quartz, though. I don't want to see more increased rewards into Hydra Clash. Oh, it's not over yet. Oh, goes out. Oh, Gnut's in. And no more Hex. Let's run an auto. So what they've done essentially is they've created a precedent in that interview, which I don't think they meant to. Because what they've basically said is, one, mythical champions shouldn't be better than normal champions. Okay? Principle 1. Mythical champions should not be better than normal champions, which I agree with to some extent. Principle 2. A primal shard is equally as rare as a void shard. As in, the value of a primal shard is the same as the value of a void shard. Don't press Rework by now. Gnut, the monster of all, 53 million. Like 20 million, if not 21, 25 million of that is also Gnut. So Gnut is about 70 million here. So the two principles they've established is mythical champions are about the same value as mythical champions should be the same power level as all of the champions, and that void shards are about the same as a primal shard in terms of value. Okay? Those two principles they've established. So now we can go, well, hang on, why are primal shards still more expensive than void shards? You've just told me that a void shard is the same level as a primal shard, so why is it $2 more expensive than a void shard? Because that's what I would have asked straight away. That would have been my instant response, because you just told me that you, quote, failed to communicate properly the primal and mythical implementation. And my argument to that would be, well, if you always saw mythical champions being the same level as normal champions, and you always saw them not as good as sacred shards, why did you price them so egregiously? Because you knew that would have created a bad backlash. Okay, so you knew what you were doing. The second point I would have is, okay, if they're the same level of champion, they are the same quantity, then it basically means that what you need for those champions should be accessible in the same places. So potion keeps the same places, soul the same places. What does that mean? Mythical tomes should be in Clan Boss, because that's where I get my legendary books, so I should be able to get mythical tomes from there, right? Maybe a mythical tome should be on top of Doom Tower, because that's where I get my legendary books from. I don't mind if they put the mythical tomes in the new content that's meant to be bigger than Doom Tower either, although I would have said that mythical champions should have released with that new content. So I do like the way they set these precedents, because I generally think the interviews that Cirilla does is very, 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 very important, because it helps explain what they do, which often is the biggest problem in Raid, is they never tell you why. They just tell you that they are doing it, and then most people get really up in arms because they're like, why are you doing this? I don't like the fact you're doing that. It's terrible you're doing this, blah, 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 you know, on and on and on. There's lots of different things like that. If they just communicate to you, like if they came out and said, look, we messed up, we overpriced them, we didn't really see the impact of them, we kind of were too insular in our thinking, we're going to revise it down, we're going to fix this, this is why we did it, then most people who are of a reasonable mindset and not the people that just want to burn the house down will go, do you know what, fair enough, you've come out, you've admitted your fault, you're fixing it, let's learn from our mistakes. You know, Ash pretty much said, this clan wars, which I agree with 100%, take your time. Do not do another Hydra Clash where you just implement it in the game and it's a disaster. Figure it out, make sure it's going to work properly, and put it in when it's ready. I don't mind waiting an extra 3 months, but learn from your mistakes a little bit and make sure you don't just repeat the same problems, because that's when people get up in arms, and that's when they start creating legitimate stories about you don't test your game. Because if every single time you release a champion and there's a bug in it, then you're not testing your game. So you can, and I know those kind of things frustrate them, because I know they test internally. I know they try things out, but sometimes things can get through the cracks. It's fair enough, but it feels like the last 6 months has been a rush. It has been make new champions, sell more shards, make new champions, sell more shards, and they've been going at a pace which they probably are not comfortable with. Like releasing, someone basically said to me, I think we were debating it in Discord, that the last 6 months has been pretty barren in terms of content. I'm like, but when you actually think about it, in the last 10 months, we've had Live Arena, Sand Devil, Shogun, Artifact Ascension, Accessory Ascension, we've had Mythical Champions release, we've had area bonuses added to the game, we've had the Great Hall chests, we've had a bunch of quality of life features. Like, they've added a ton in 10 months. The problem is, not many people see any of that as positive, so they kind of overlook all the features. But if you think of the networking requirements to make Live Arena work and stable, and Live Arena is pretty stable. You don't really see many people have any problems with the servers with Live Arena. It's been, I think Live Arena was implemented in a very good way. They staged it, they tested it, they fixed a few issues. Yes, there is a meta issue, but that's not a system issue. Hydra Clash, the Live Arena works really well. The matchups work really well. Yes, it took you a while to find the right ratings. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's perfect, but the game mode worked. There was not many major bugs. And they've released some really interesting bosses, right? The Shogun was an interesting challenge for a week. Sand Devil was interesting for a while. The problem is, single boss encounters, you kind of solve them very quickly, so it's kind of like, how much longevity does it add? And a lot of it was a means to an end for the model of they wanted to add, which is like artifact enhancement, essentially. You know, I get that. Pay-to-win mechanics supported by pay-to-win mechanics. But in terms of like content delivery, they've delivered a hell of a lot in 10 months, and they deserve a little bit of praise for that to keep the game constantly updated. I think what people need now is some proper content that is not just use this boss to make something stronger. So I'm starting to think the great vote is to be open when Playroom can't make or any more of the server. Actually, no, Alex. What tends to happen is the development pipelines are influenced by lots of things, right? So, for example, the Iron Twins was always meant to be the Doom Tower, but they decided to change course and make a proper Doom Tower and then make Iron Twins this purple Void Keep, right? So I would imagine that they have a plan for this, but maybe they've decided to prioritize something else because they've had a better idea. Like Hydra was meant to have its own development cycle, and they've kind of forgotten about it because I think engagement from the player base didn't warrant necessarily the commitment of development time, because a lot of people don't like Hydra. So adding more Hydra heads, more difficulties doesn't seem to be very rewarding if players are not engaging with it. We'll have to wait and see what it's going to be. It seems like it's probably going to be something in this like in this window here. that there'll be a separate tab over here. So we'll have to see what it's going to be. So, you know. So yeah, I just think with the interviews, it's important that they do them because it helps explain their situations and where they were thinking. And, you know, then we can make our own judgments of, well, you know, your thought process was terrible or your thought process makes sense, right? For example, in Diablo 4, there's a game mode, there's a damage mode called Overpower. And a lot of, you know, good Diablo 4 players will say Overpower is terrible. It's rubbish. It's awful. The concept of it is you build tanky to deal damage, and it just doesn't scale very well. So Rax and Terox, I was watching one of his videos. He's a Diablo 4 streamer. It's really good. If you enjoy that kind of game, you should definitely go follow him. He is basically saying he didn't understand the point of Overpower, why they implemented it was a terrible idea. They should never have done it. But once the Adam Jackson, the class designer, basically explained why they wanted Overpower and the fantasy of having a third form of damage that isn't just like debuff damage over time and on hit damage, they wanted a tank-based damage. But the problems that resulted in it when it scaled and how it didn't really scale to the level they wanted, his response back to that was then, okay, so you need to rebalance it, but I can see why you did something. The outcome wasn't desirable, but I can see why you did something. And I think that's where communication is key. If they came forward and said, look, Primal Shards, we overpriced them. We weren't really thinking. We probably just wanted to see what players were interacting with, and we totally overstepped the mark. We know that patch is not very good. We know that that month wasn't good. You know, sorry, we've adjusted it. I think a lot of people would accept that. Cadaver, for example, if they came forward now and said quite publicly and was like, hey, we tried everything possible to not nerf Cadaver. These were the steps that we did. Blah, 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 blah. But because of the analytics that is showing that player retention is dropping in Hydra and a key component seems to be the Hydra Cadaver, unfortunately, we are going to have to nerf Cadaver because that is the only outcome we can see at the moment with the amount of development time we have available to us to fix that problem. Then most players would understand why they took so long to do it because they would be able to demonstrate the attempts they've made. Whereas at the moment, it kind of feels like you said 6 weeks ago you weren't going to nerf the champion, and now you have. But you haven't really explained why you're nerfing the champion after you said you weren't going to nerf it, right? There's no communication process of why we've ended up nerfing the champion when we said we would not. If they didn't even mention the first thing and then just nerfed it, that wouldn't even be a problem either, because then we would just say, okay, they finally got round into fixing the problem. But because they specifically said we don't want to nerf the champion, and then left it for 6 weeks so that people built the team and then came and nerfed the champion exactly how we suggested they should do it right from day one, someone needs to explain why that happened, personally. Saf, what do you think about a new server where you can't spend anything? I was actually thinking about this, right? WoW does like classic servers, right? I wonder how fun it would be if there was like a server in Raid where you could start again. Everyone has to start again from scratch, right? The whole game mode starts again from scratch. I don't know whether about limits and spending, but like a hard mode server kind of thing. That would be kind of fun. Playering would never do it because they would have to have two separate branches of code potentially with two separate supports and server infrastructures. It's not like from a financial sense, it's not very good. But from a game sense, it would be quite fun because I think a lot of the problems are a lot of these top end accounts get traded. So you don't have this natural cycle of players reach the end game, they stop playing, that account goes away and new players come forth. You basically have player reaches end game, player wants to sell the account gets sold to someone else who wants to keep spending on it, and that account just gets stronger and stronger and stronger, which means that the top end accounts never actually go out of the flow. You know, you can't generate new top end accounts because the top end accounts just get traded. And that's why it's such a gap between us in like Gold 5 low plat or Gold 2 and Tag Team Arena and the people who are like top plat, because those are traded accounts that keep constantly getting 50 grand investments every sort of 3 months when they get traded around. So, you know. I forgot to ask why the Battle Pass, why we don't get Elva Battle Pass would be a massive boost for new players. Yeah, it could do. My only problem with Hydra Clash is I'm totally nowhere near a Hydra team that can do 35 million. Yeah, and I think Clash should be rewarding your progression. The thing is, Viper, if the matchmaking works correctly, then you get the same amount of rewards for winning Clash as you do on top end that does 150 million as the lower end, right? So the idea with Clash is meant to help you, encourage you to progress, to get better. So sometimes you'll win, sometimes you won't. That's absolutely okay, as long as it feels like you can win, which I think Cadaver made you feel like you couldn't. Am I playing Dragonair tonight? I really am tempted to buy some Heliolites. I really am tempted to buy some Heliolites. Would be financial because the server infrastructure to maintain 2 server shards with server bases, potentially you might need 2 code bases. It's a very big overhead to add. It's a very big like tech overhead to have. You know. Yeah, I mean they should totally ban accounts that sold those accounts, because then it would give fresh growth for new bots. The thing about Krakens are, and this is something that I've found with most of these games, if there's an opportunity for them to flex, then the money is not a problem. So you don't have to worry about deleting someone's account because they traded it. They'll go and make a new account and just flex, and then go with the ego thing of they tried to ban my account and then I just made a new one and still wailed hard. That's what, if Krakens want to spend money on a game, they will, right? It's not going to matter. So I do actually think that Raid should do more monthly subscriptions, right? Dragonair is 2, an energy pack and a gem pack. I think they should do an energy pack in Raid. $9.99 a month, you get 100 extra energy a day. It may not sound like a lot, but 3,000 energy a month, that's a whole Dungeon Divers extra. You know, you could even maybe have it like 130, or maybe make 2 refills a day or something, I don't know. But just having a $9.99 a month, like the daily gem pack, would be so valuable. I think loads of people would buy it. Loads of people. Have you played any more Watch of Us? I haven't played it since the last stream, no. Yeah, the problem with that one, Carrie, car warranty, man, was it was too good. That's why it never came back. Where does that put us in Hydra Clash now? So my first key has put me into 549 million. 549 million. It's good, that. That means pretty much to get this, I only need like 100 million. So that's like easily should be comfortable. But we want to push on a little bit as well, right? We want to build a bit of buffer between Defiance down here and Nexus Nova. They should be fine, but it's still close. It's very difficult to judge because it's low-key participation. Like, obviously, these guys are using up some of their cadaver. So we won't win, but even if we get this chest, it's worthwhile. Ironically, there's not that much difference between the chests, believe it or not. Like, as long as you get this chest, there is no difference, I think, between this and this. It's very rare. It's very much different. Like, it doesn't really matter. So... yeah, I don't know what you would level it at next, Ada. I'm just saying that an energy pack, as like a daily gem pack, but energy instead of gems, would go, I think, I would fly off the shelves, I think, in this game. So, my 2 keys. How much did you do, Brissinger? Let's have a look. There you are. I mean, you're on 339. That's not bad. It's progress. That's a lot of perception gear. What you need to start doing, Brissinger, is try and replace some of your perception gear with relentless gear, right? You can push a lot harder with this. You're probably better off, like... there's too much support in this team, right? You've got Lydia, Sibel, Bivald, and Uko. There's just way too much support in this team. I would run a Krizia and Gnut together and try and bring down the support, right? It's just too much. I think you can probably replace either the Uko and the Mother Sibel with someone who does the same job. Or replace the Lydia with someone with decreased speed, right? And then you can replace the Mother Sibel. Because I just think there's just too much support in this team. You're just punishing your damage. I used to do it a lot in my teams, right? I'd have too much support. I'd put all my eggs in the one basket, and then I just couldn't get the numbers. Now that I've got essentially 2 damage sources, you know, it would be better. Yeah, there's no Hex either. Mother Sibel 100% should be in Cursed here if that's the way you're going to use her. It would add so much more damage. You'd easily get another like 20 million just by putting Mother Sibel in Hexed. You rebuilt Sibel in Hex. Oh, after this, yeah? Uko's in Provoke by the looks of it. Yeah, Bivold can do decent damage. I'm not saying replace Bivold. I'm just saying that Bivold, Uko, Mother Sibel, and Lydia is too much support. You need to like drop one of them for more damage. Yeah, Knuckle, I'm saying another one. I mean, they could even do an advanced gem pack Knuckle. What I'm saying is if they introduced another subscription, like another daily pack, it would be very popular, I think. And they could do it at like $9.99 and essentially double their MAU, their MMR, their what's the word? MRR, monthly recurring revenue. They could just double the gem pack and it would be so popular. I was testing new teams for free Riga swap, right? Is no Necmo. Yeah, I mean, he is a big problem. Like, he's such a dominant. Like, you can see all the teams, like, in this clan that have done really well. They're all led by a Nekmothar sometimes. Most of them are led by Nekmothar. Like, Shooter's Nightmare team. The GNU is monstrous, but it's led by Nekmothar, you know, and then Michinaki with there as well, so... It's the Tahanarak that I kind of lack. The Tahanarak is really strong because you just can cover a lot of roles with her. You ran a Krizia Michinaki and Subpar Provoke set, Shamel, Wukong, Mithralo, and Elva this week when you did about 80 million on Brutal. That's pretty good, though. 80 million on Brutal is pretty good. I definitely think having to cover... Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's one of my suggestions. It has been from day one with Hydra. I've always felt like Hydra, from day one, should have been 4 heads, more frequent rotations, but more consistency. Just because I feel like trying to cover all 6 in one team is just always hard. Unless you have like the OP picks that can cover multiple problems in one job, it's very difficult. I'm just going to go grab a drink. I will be back in about a minute. 1 sec.
Something feels missing, something's not right. I had it all written, but the ink never dried. Throw out the page, what do I say? If all I thought I wanted went running away. One deep breath out, one deep breath in. Again, again, again. I don't wanna give up on a Sunday, dreaming that one day it won't just be a dream anymore. I don't wanna let go of what could be, when everything it should be might be just behind the door. What my heart's been looking for. Something about darkness, there's no shape to judge.
Yo, right, okay, so for the hard team, we're not quite ready to build the new hard team. This one here, because Islin, he's still not booked, right? And I feel like even though this is booked, this not being booked is a bit of a problem, and this not being booked is a bit of a problem. Just need that 50%. The Suzerain Catone is booked. which is great. So we could use Suzerain Catone right now. Or we just go back to our normal hard team, which is this. So you can see what we're changing now is we're dropping Oella, we're dropping Sisia, and we're dropping Kantra. And we're going to replace it with Islin, Tumacia, and Suzerain Catone. So essentially we're swapping out 1, 2.5 supports for 2 DPS. We should get more damage with to Hanorach. You have to work in, you have to learn for Sand Devil, yeah. Mine will be put into Fire Knight Hard eventually. No, she's very good, Lily. Lily. It's just I wanted to get Tumacia in because Tumacia is powerful, much more powerful than Sisia or Sikia or whatever you want to call it. So, who will heal? There's Leech. Right now, Shamael is Mashaled is in Cursed, so I want to move Cursed off Salad, put it onto Suzerain Catone, and then I want to put Mashaled back into Lethal Cruel or Savage Cruel, so that Mashaled can pump more damage, and then I want to basically get Islin as the primary provoker. We'll have triple AoE Cursed with Suzerain Catone, and then a massive nuke as well in Tumacia, and Tumacia can also place HP burn when it's a poison cloud. I might even make Shamael like super high DPS. At the moment he's like tank Shamael. No, Mashaled as Leech. I don't really think I need another Leech. One's enough. I could put Razelvarg in here. Razelvarg is built for Fire Knight. How is it better? Because of this. Damage increases for 40% for each HP burn debuff that is up in battle. So that's 4. So 4 times 4 is 4, 8, 12, 160% bonus damage. And then this burn places through Poison Cloud. Because she places the burn first, then she attacks all enemies, and it's on for 3 turns. It just means that the burn is much more consistent. We also get a backup decreased speed, backup A1 decreased defense as well. So when we kill a head, we can basically pump a decreased defense straight out the bat. Suzerain Catone then is going to be here for the decreased defense and weaken and decreased speed on the A1 and the A2. This isn't 100% decreased defense, but it's pretty good. It's like 75%. Uko is for our block buffs, mainly, and decreased attack. And then Islin is going to be a 3rd decreased speed, protection. We also get a lot of healing from Islin's passive. Don't ignore Islin's healing passive. It's very good. Yeah, Cursed can place Hex. That's not what I'm saying. This can place HP burn through Poison Cloud. So I can get back to dealing damage if I get a bad rotation. Whereas Sisia can't place burn through Poison Cloud. What? I trash all 5-star, pretty much, yeah. Is Mashaled Aura lead? Well, Mashaled is not there for necessarily Aura. He's there because the Shamael will boost the leader. So Shamael is boosting Mashaled, so Mashaled gets more attacks. So when... this is not going to work, but it will make sure that Shamael boosts it. Right? Which I think is more important. Right? You could basically have that, which is actually a crazy aura if you think about it. If you wanted more decreased speed. But I feel like the Shamael is better for damage, right? She has defense. Yeah, but so does Suzerain Catone. So Suzerain Catone is the replacement for Sisia, so that I can actually run Tumacia, which has a higher damage threshold than Sisia. That's the idea. And because Suzerain Catone is a full AoE champion, I'll get Cursed out more often than I can with Sisia, which means that I can drop Cursed off Masher Lead and put Masher Lead back into a higher damage team. So that's kind of like what I'm doing. Yeah, I did know. Well, artifact sets can place on weak hit. So, like, you can run Provoke and place it on weak hit, right? So, I knew that. Yeah, I knew that. Because that's the way all artifact sets work, right? All artifact sets can place whether you weak hit or strong hit or anything. It's an independent role. What? Don't make it... Don't be lazy. Yeah, that is true. Nexard. It is something to entertain. I mean, ideally, Shamael is the champion I wouldn't want to run here, but I don't have a Torment solution if I don't, like, run the Shamael, and I think if I... That's a bit of a risk. I mean, I absolutely could run Razelvar, because he's built fast. Yeah, it does both. Not 100% on the decreased defense, but it's like, what? 50, 60, 75%? So 80% with Sniper. And I've got a backup decreased defense if it doesn't roll with Tumacia, right? So it's not the end of the world if he doesn't get both of them. So 100% for Weaken, 75% with 80% with Sniper for decreased defense. We've got a 45%, which is, or is it 50%, which is 55% with Sniper for decreased speed. He got buffed, Keymaster. He was buffed recently. So he used to do it. I don't know. I mean, if you drop Uko, you lose block buffs, right? So that's immediately a problem. If you drop Islin, you lose the Provoke, which is instantly a problem. Now, you could try and make Uko a Provoke set, but actually, I think you still need more than just the Leech for support, Nexard. I feel like the Islin ally protection and the healing will help to just support when the Leech is not up. Suzerain is just irreplaceable, I think, in this setup because of everything that he's doing. So... his A1 is strong. Which A1 now? If you want to work on a 6-star Wicked Mash Lead. Yeah, absolutely. It's why I wanted to use him, because he's like +2, right? So, but at the moment he's just like he's in a curse set, so his numbers are good for Hydra. But these numbers can be way stronger if I didn't have to build him in weak curse sets. Because obviously my curse set is not crazy good for damage because I'm building it up. It's not bad, like we've got, you know, a decent amount of stuff, but like I don't really know why he's built this. Like he's just built for damage and cursed at the moment, which is really weird. So I need to rebuild him out of this. If I put that into Suzerain Catone, I can push his numbers way up. So, but yeah, I've been waiting to build it, but I've been waiting for books and CVC windows, right? So I couldn't fully book everyone out that I needed to last time because I feel like Suzerain Catone, even though he needs a few books, unfortunately I landed one here. He needed all the books for that. And I also had to book, there was another champion I had to book recently, Razelvarg, and I had to book him and it just went, it was just awkward. It consumed a lot of the books I didn't need. It booked the A2 and I didn't want to book the A2. I wanted to book the A3. So we got close with Islin, right? So we'll be able to get Islin probably... I've got, what, 8 books? I need 4, ideally. Well, I can fully book Islin, basically. So Razelvarg just took a lot, really. I don't really care about the last one there. And I don't really care about these books here, because I probably won't use this much, because I don't really want to put a heal reduction up, if I'm being honest. So... Razel Affinity, though. Yeah, I mean, I could drop the Shamael for Razelvarg and just try and, like, go all out, because this is my hard team. It's not my brutal team. It's the team that I run on hard. So I literally could just go... Literally just go all out here and just drop that, put Razelvarg in. I could do. Could Scar Tortoise be used in Hydra? I mean, there's no reason why not. He does do good buffs. I would say that it's more challenging to manage the buffs with if he steals, but could do. I mean, Razelvarg is built fast, right? Razelvarg at the moment is built for Fire Knight, so he is like 6.6k attack, 244% crit damage, 318 speed, but he's built for the Fire Knight hard team. Does Island have attack down? No. Only Uko has attack down in this team, right? So that's Uko is being the block buffs and attack down. Suzerain is being the decreased defense and weaken, and Island is the provoker. That's what those three are doing. And then between those two and between the two on the side and Tumis here, we're getting decreased speed out as well. Because the biggest problem if you look at my current hard iteration, the one thing that this team lacks more than anything else is decreased speed. Because the only champion that has decreased speed is this. And it's inconsistent. So what I was finding was the head would go down, and before I even had a chance to do anything, the head was gone. It's back up again, right? So what I wanted to do was try and include more turn meter control and more damage into the team, which is what this is achieving. So, yeah, but it's only single target, right? And it just doesn't land enough. Like, the problem with Oella is often you'll want to use the A3 and the A2 more than the A1. So it's always difficult. So just let cleanse happen and use the A2 after. No poison head at the start. Yeah, but I think Island is giving a lot more than just to provoke. Now that this is fixed, people underestimate the strength of this healing. Also, people underestimate the value of his attack. This counterattack means he does pump a good amount of free damage. So you'll see when I build this team that actually he's providing a lot more than just to provoke, which I think people misunderstand with this kit. I think they just see him as a provoke champion when actually he's a support damage champion, because he's defense based. So you can build him really tanky. For every bit of defense you have, he's going to heal more, and he's going to do more damage because he's counterattacking. You know, and he gives increased defense to all allies. It's going to make the team more solidified. Otherwise, it is literally, like you're saying, glass cannon, hope for the best, and if it all goes wrong, it all goes wrong, right? Does he provoke consistently? Yeah, I mean, this will basically be, when it's booked, a 75% chance that he provokes every time he A1s. It's pretty good. There's not many A1s that are better than that. Yeah, I've got Akimtum. The problem with Akimtum is you don't want to spread poisons, right? The biggest problem with Akimtum is you'll spread poisons onto this head. Which one is it? This one? The provoke head. And then you can't provoke because you've run out of debuff spots, right? That's the only problem with debuff spreading in this mode. You spread too many debuffs, especially poisons, you won't be able to provoke. Yeah, but it wasn't necessarily just to provoke Nexard. I was finding that, like, one of the main reasons I wanted to bring him in, consistent low decreased speed cooldown, consistent support, consistent provokes. That's what I wanted him for. I'm not necessarily just bringing him for the provokes. It's everything. And I don't think Oella really gives enough. And I don't have protection sets, so... Yeah, but it's not good enough. I mean, potentially. I also want to make content around it to basically show that Izan is very good. Because I think he got a lot of criticism because he was a bit average. But actually, I think he's a really, really good champion. So I kind of want to show that he is really good as well. So, and it would also make it a bit more auto-friendly, right? Nexard. It will make it much more auto-friendly because it's going to be more consistent, so... Anyway, guys, it is around about half midnight here. I've got a long day ahead of me tomorrow. So, I don't know if I'm going to do another... I don't really want to do another Hydra run tonight. And I think... I got a lot of recording to do this week for when we're away. So, I'm going to call it there for the night. I really appreciate everyone hanging out and talking about everything that's going on. CVC is tomorrow. Good luck. These personal rewards are pretty good. I'll be pumping hard. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if I was going to finish this champion training event, but I don't know. Oh, actually, tell you what I need to do. Before we go away, I forgot to do my I did take this. This is a terrible idea. We need to do a quick Spider 10 run. I forgot to do this. What is that? I nearly forgot to do all my clan quests. That would have been awkward. We need a Riho. Dark Kale. Where is Dark Kale? Anyone see a Dark Kale around here? Dark Kale. Do we have a Dark Hail? I should use the search box. There he is. Is that enough? 5, 3. Should be. Just bring Emic to make sure. Emic, Trunk Heart, and then some double nuke. I don't know, like Septimus and I don't know, Cold Heart or something. I really want to see Islin's damage. Yeah, I think he's going to be better than people think. Right. Need to do 10 debuffs, then kill the target. Let me just provoke. Shouldn't die. That's not great. Apparently he has no gear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that should be good. Just do that again. If I kill one spiderling. Nope. Well, Emic's kind of dead. And she resisted. That's what we want to see. Oh, please, don't tell me. I should be able to get one shot now, right? One shot. One shot. He's got one shot, right? Oh my god, one more turn. This is disastrous. That should be fine. Just pump some there and there and finish it off. Really? Really? Kill the boss. The music is appropriate right now. It's like a very strong possibility I might just kill it. There we go. Oh. 2 clan quests. I thought I would actually be summoning a lot more mystery shards, but I only got 2. I took it because whenever I'm doing champion training events, I always never take this quest, and then I end up getting like 5 or 6 rares from mystery shards, and I should have taken that chest. It's too late. Took it this week, didn't get any. And I did a lot of champion training. I did down to this. But I don't think... This has got 9 hours, 29 minutes. I've got like 10 minutes, depending on the matchmaking, to basically do like no points. So I don't know if I really want to. I mean, I want to, but I don't know if I want to. Mailbox. Oh yeah, I just got to check the bottom of this, haven't I? Thank you. I think I'm okay. I think, well, 7 days. Can I just clear out this? Just clear out some storage. Oh, damn it. I really need to get on top of my artifact storage for accessories. It's just really expensive to roll this stuff, which is why I don't do it. Like, I have to roll it to like 8 to see if it's any good. And I just find it so expensive to cleanse. See what I mean? Like, that could be a triple roll now. So I'm like, maybe I should keep hold of it. What I would really love is a filter. Talking of quality of life. A filter that just basically goes unrolled. Show me only the things that I have not rolled. Please. Right, we don't need that. I'm keeping all the refresh. You never know when you need it. And I'm pretty much selling all the cleansing that's 5-star, but I just keep the refresh because you just never know when you need them. I probably should go through them at some point and figure out what ones I don't need. Can we just like clear out some rare stuff? There you go, look, let's clear this out. That's probably not that important. Yeah, that's pretty rubbish. Let's do the obvious thing here. How many crit damage amulets do I have with resistance that shouldn't be kept? That should go. That's okay. It's not great, but that should go. That should go. That should go. Actually, we'll keep that. That should go. That should go. Crit damage amulets with resistance should be instant sold if they've rolled it. Doesn't matter if they've got it on one roll, but if they roll any resistance, it should be instant sold. Like that, instant sell. Because you don't want resistance with damage. Don't want that. Sell. Sell. I don't mind if it's there as side one and it hasn't cost me any rolls, but if it's rolled like that, sell. There are some scenarios where you need resistance, but the majority of the time you don't need resistance with damage. So I just sell them all. Right, there you go. That should be able to ensure that I don't lose out any artifacts down here. There we go. That gives me 15 days worth of stuff. Most of that I'll probably sell anyway. I'd imagine. Let's see. Defense. If this doesn't roll double defense, we sell. Okay, we'll keep that. Typical. This, for example, if it doesn't roll double defense, we sell. Sell. It's just so time consuming. Well, there are still some factions in Exiled that I just don't have very good rings for. So even a double roll rare that's high roll is pretty good. It's normally with rings, it's okay though. You can sell the rings to like 8 because look how much this is going to cost me now. I shouldn't sell that one though. Oh yes, I should. That's fine. Look how much this will cost me, okay? It probably cost me like 50k. Like 68k. That's actually quite good because I might not have much HP. I just don't have a need for that. So, there are some scenarios when it does pay off. Because there are some that I just don't have very good options for. Believe it or not, like I think Sacred Order rings are really bad for me. I think I have like one very good attack Sacred Order ring, and then I don't have anything else. So. Yeah. I mean, I could go for a little more artifact enhancement, but I don't need to. So. So yeah, that is the end of the stream, guys. Make sure you... Let's just throw this on for 4 more. Good luck in CBC if you're going for it. I will be pumping hard to try and win some rewards for the clan. And I'll probably finish my Hydra keys. I should have done them today, really. I need to get into the habit of using Hydra keys more often in the week. But I'm going to have to do like Hydra probably before the weekend, if I'm being honest. So I'm going to try and do one every single day after the reset. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Updated artifact guide anytime soon? We could do. We could do, yeah. We could do. That's a good point. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next stream. Sorry, Wicked. I'm just finishing for the night. It's been a long day for me. It's been a long day. I'll catch you guys in the next stream. Yeah, sorry, Boom. It's like 1 in the morning nearly for me here. I'll be back Thursday, which will probably be the last stream before Vegas. I don't think... I won't be able to stream them for an entire week or so, so streams will be interrupted. But I'll be doing content and stuff around Vegas with Hellhades and the crew and everyone else, like Dan and Fiction and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. But Thursday we'll be back for stream. Have a nice evening, everyone, and I'll catch you soon.